Free will and determinism are concepts that people have pondered for centuries. They explore whether we truly have control over our choices or if our actions are determined by factors beyond our control. Let's break these ideas down in a straightforward way. Free will suggests that we have the ability to make our own choices. This means that when we decide what to eat for dinner or which route to take on a walk, it's up to us. No one is coercing us, and nothing else is dictating our decisions. For instance, if you choose a sandwich over pizza, that choice is made because you desire it, rather than because of external forces. With this freedom comes responsibility. If we have the power to choose, we must also accept the consequences of our actions. If someone makes a poor choice, they are accountable because it was their decision. On the other hand, determinism posits that every action, thought, or choice we make is influenced by other factors. It suggests that our decisions aren't truly free because they are shaped by elements like our upbringing, surrounding environment, or even the mechanisms of our brain. For example, if you opt for pizza instead of a sandwich, a determinist might argue that your decision was influenced by the smell of the pizza, your current mood, or a fond memory of enjoying it in the past. From this perspective, even if it feels like you're making an independent choice, it's already been set in motion by things outside your control. These two ideas appear to conflict with one another. If determinism is accurate and our actions stem from other sources, how can we assert that we are truly free to choose? Consider a person faced with the decision to go for a run or stay home. They may feel entirely free in their choice, but a determinist would point out that factors like their energy level, fondness for running, or even the day's weather influence their decision. It might seem like a free choice, but the determinist believes it is already swayed by these elements. Those who advocate for free will maintain that we can still make decisions, even when influenced by outside factors. For instance, someone who typically indulges in junk food might choose one day to embrace healthier eating habits. This moment can seem like a prime example of free will in action, as they are actively deciding to change their lifestyle despite any previous patterns. By exploring these ideas, we gain a better understanding of our own choices and the forces that shape them. What do you think? Do you feel your decisions are truly your own, or influenced by other factors? Supporters of free will often view instances of personal triumph as evidence that individuals can overcome their circumstances and take charge of their lives. However, some thinkers seek a middle ground between the concepts of free will and determinism. They argue that both can coexist, a perspective known as compatibilism. According to this view, while we make choices, those decisions are still influenced by various external factors. For example, if you decide to spend your day off painting, that choice might be influenced by your passion for art or even the materials you have at hand. Yet compatibilists assert that this still counts as a free choice, since it stems from your desire to paint. Science contributes to this discussion too. Research into brain activity reveals that our brains can begin preparing for actions before we consciously recognize a decision has been made. For instance, when you reach for a cup of coffee, your brain may already be signaling your hand even before you consciously decide to grab it. This has led some people to question the reality of free will, suggesting that if our brains initiate decisions for us, we may not be in control at all. On the flip side, others argue that even when brain activity begins early, we still exert control over our actions. They contend that our conscious thoughts are crucial in guiding our choices. This debate affects our everyday lives, particularly in the realm of the justice system. If determinism holds true and our actions are shaped by our environments, can we truly hold someone accountable for their wrongdoings if they lack true choice? Some believe we can still justify punishment, as it may serve to rehabilitate an individual and modify future behavior, even if they weren't fully in control of their actions. This approach can prevent individuals from repeating past mistakes. Belief in free will can also influence our self-perception. If you feel you have control over your choices, you might feel more driven to improve yourself or break bad habits. For instance, you might think, I can choose to exercise more often, or I can spend less time on my phone. Conversely, if you lean towards determinism, You might focus on understanding the reasons behind your actions. This perspective may lead to greater empathy for yourself and others as you recognize the many factors, like upbringing and environment, that shape our lives. Everyday situations can prompt us to reflect on this ongoing debate. Take, for example, the choice of a career. Are you selecting a job purely based on your desires, or are there underlying factors influencing your decision? When considering choices, we often wonder if we're acting out of genuine passion or succumbing to external pressures. Take, for example, someone trying to quit smoking. Are they relying solely on their willpower, or is their success influenced by encouragement from friends or their level of stress? These scenarios illustrate how both free will and factors beyond our control might shape our decisions. Understanding the balance between free will and determinism is significant. If you lean towards free will, you might hold people completely responsible for their choices. In contrast, if you favor determinism, your focus may shift to the influences that guide behavior and how we might address them. Neither perspective offers a complete explanation, and the truth may lie somewhere in the middle. Reflecting on this topic can deepen our understanding of ourselves and others, prompting us to consider how we make decisions. Regardless of whether you believe in free will, determinism, or a mix of both, this ongoing debate encourages us to think critically about our identities and choices. It invites us to reflect on our actions and fosters a more compassionate approach to life. Let's delve into relativity and absolutism, two ways of thinking about truth, morality, and our understanding of the world. While they may appear straightforward, they lead to important questions about decision-making, judgment, and interpersonal interactions. Relativity suggests that truth and morality can change based on context, culture, and personal perspective. This viewpoint implies that there isn't always one universal answer that fits every situation. For example, a gesture considered polite in one culture might be seen as disrespectful in another. A relativist would argue that both interpretations are valid within their respective contexts. Often, relativity arises in discussions about ethics. Imagine a scenario where someone lies to protect a friend. In many cases, honesty is crucial, so lying may seem wrong. However, in situations where keeping a friend safe is at stake, lying might be viewed as the right choice. A relativist would contend that whether the lie is good or bad depends on the specific circumstances and motivations behind it. On the opposite side, absolutism holds that certain truths or rules are universal and unchanging. This perspective posits that there are definitive right and wrong answers in every situation. Some beliefs are seen as universally true, meaning they apply everywhere and in all situations. This is known as absolutism. For instance, an absolutist might argue that lying is always wrong, even if the intention is to help someone. They view truth as something that should remain constant and unchanging. Now let's consider how this contrasts with relativism, which suggests that context matters significantly. Take the legal system, for example. An absolutist would hold that stealing is wrong in all circumstances. In contrast, a relativist might consider the motivations behind the act. If someone steals food to avoid starving, a relativist might see this action as more justifiable, even if stealing itself is typically unacceptable. The debate between these two perspectives often hinges on notions of fairness. Absolutists prioritize consistency and believe that having clear rules is essential for maintaining order and justice. They worry that changing rules too frequently could lead to confusion and unjust treatment. Conversely, relativists emphasize the diversity of human experiences and opinions, arguing that it's crucial to take these differences into account when assessing what is fair. Let's explore a couple of relatable examples. Imagine two parents setting bedtime for their children. One parent insists that bedtime should always be at 8 p.m., without exceptions, reflecting an absolutist mindset. The other parent, however, is more flexible, allowing for bedtime to change on special occasions like holidays. This second parent embodies a relativist approach, adjusting rules based on circumstances. You can also see these differing perspectives in how people approach cultural traditions. An absolutist might believe their way of celebrating a holiday is the only correct method, sticking to that tradition without change. Meanwhile, A relativist might appreciate the variety of ways different cultures celebrate, recognizing that there isn't just one correct way to observe a holiday. Even in science, the contrast between relativism and absolutism is evident. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity revealed that time and space are not fixed concepts. They can vary based on factors like speed and gravity. This marked a significant departure from the absolutist view, which held that time and space were constant. By considering these perspectives, we can better understand how ideas about right and wrong can differ greatly depending on the context. What do you think? How might these viewpoints influence your own understanding of fairness? In the universe, certain principles remain constant, but when it comes to ideas like relativity, especially in science, it's clear that context matters. This concept extends into discussions about morality and ethics, which often touch on personal beliefs. Those who hold absolutist views might cite religious or philosophical rules as proof of unchanging truths about how to live. For instance, they might argue that killing is always wrong, regardless of the circumstances. On the other hand, relativists might point to specific situations, like cases of self-defense or wartime actions, where taking a life could be viewed as justified. For relativists, the key is to understand the specific context and motivations behind actions. However, one challenge with relativism is that it can seem to permit any behavior, leading us to the question, if right and wrong depend on the situation, where do we draw the line? Consider a culture that practices rituals involving harm. Should this be acceptable simply because it's a tradition? Relativists often argue that, while context is crucial, some actions like hurting others might be universally regarded as wrong across various cultures. Absolutism also faces its own difficulties. A strict adherence to constant rules can lead to outcomes that seem unfair. Take, for instance, a policy stating that any student who submits homework late receives a 0 without exceptions. Although this rule appears fair on the surface, it may not take into account situations like a family emergency. In this case, an absolutist stance might feel harsh, while a relativist perspective would allow for a more compassionate response. The interplay between relativity and absolutism is also evident in how people negotiate disagreements. Relativists tend to be more willing to see things from another person's perspective, even while disagreeing, while absolutists may have a harder time with this because they view their beliefs as universal. Conversely, absolutists often feel more assured in their decisions, while relativists might struggle to make clear judgments when faced with multiple variables. This debate also plays a role in our views on progress and change. Those with absolutist beliefs might resist altering traditional values, holding fast to the idea that some things should remain unchanged. In contrast, relativists usually embrace change, seeing it as a natural response to new ideas and circumstances. In reality, most individuals don't fit neatly into one category or the other. In some situations, people may lean more toward absolutism, while in others, they might embrace a relativistic approach. When we talk about absolutism, we often refer to clear standards of fairness or justice that everyone should follow. Yet, in some cases, people shift toward a more relative understanding, especially when trying to see things from someone else's viewpoint or making allowances for unique circumstances. Both absolutism and relativity have their own advantages and disadvantages. Relativity teaches us to be adaptable. It encourages us to consider the context of a situation and appreciate the diversity in people's experiences. On the other hand, absolutism emphasizes the value of clear rules and shared beliefs, which help create a sense of fairness and consistency for everyone involved. So the discussion between these two ideas isn't necessarily about picking one over the other. It's about seeking a balance. Sometimes we need strict rules and undeniable truths to maintain order and fairness. Other times we should be open to flexibility, acknowledging the complexities life throws at us. Recognizing both perspectives enriches our understanding of ourselves and our surroundings. Now let's dive into the idea of appearance versus reality. This concept poses a fundamental question. Is what we see or experience truly reflective of what is? Often things may appear one way, but the underlying truth can be quite different. This notion applies to objects, people, and situations alike. To illustrate, consider a dessert that looks absolutely delightful with its beautiful presentation. Yet when you take a bite, it turns out to be disappointing in flavor. The lovely outward appearance didn't match the reality of the taste. This idea extends beyond objects. It applies to individuals as well. You might meet someone who appears very friendly and kind at first. Initially, they may seem like a wonderful person to befriend, but as time passes, you might discover that their actions don't align with their words. They could be putting on a facade for their own reasons, illustrating again how appearance and reality can diverge. Sometimes, we misinterpret situations by focusing too much on outward appearances. Picture someone sitting alone at a party. You might assume they're feeling lonely or out of place. However, they could very well be enjoying a moment of peace, fully content in their solitude, or simply taking a much-needed break. This highlights the importance of looking beneath the surface to understand the true nature of both people and situations. First impressions often arise from what we can see, but these impressions aren't always accurate. There's a significant difference between how things appear and how they truly are, and this theme has been explored in various stories, art, and philosophy throughout history. Take fairy tales, for instance. Many of them feature characters or situations that seem magical or safe, but turn out to be quite the opposite, like a witch disguised as a kind old woman. These stories serve as reminders to look beyond appearances and question what is genuinely true. Philosophy also dives deeply into this topic. Plato, a well-known philosopher, shared a story about a group of people who live in a cave, seeing only shadows on the wall. They believe these shadows represent reality because it's all they've ever known. However, when one individual escapes the cave and experiences the outside world, they discover that the shadows were merely illusions. The actual world is much more expansive and intricate. This narrative illustrates how people can confuse appearances for reality when they lack a broader perspective. Interestingly, science engages with this notion too. For example, from our viewpoint on Earth, it looks flat, but we understand it to be round. Similarly, while the sun seems to glide across the sky, it's actually the Earth that is in motion. These instances show how surface-level observations can differ significantly from the underlying truths once we investigate further. The difference between appearance and reality is also crucial in how we perceive others. People often curate their image, especially on social media. Someone might post photos that portray a perfect life, but the reality could tell a different story, filled with stress or sadness that doesn't make it into their snapshots. This discrepancy highlights the importance of not comparing ourselves too harshly to what we see online, as it often represents just a fraction of their true experience. Moreover, this theme impacts trust. When someone appears honest but isn't, it can lead to complications in relationships. Imagine someone who consistently says the right things and makes you feel valued, only to reveal later that their actions don't align with their words. This realization can be painful, as you trusted the image they projected without understanding the reality beneath. Advertising serves as another clear example. Companies often present their products in a way that makes them look better than they actually are. A fast food burger might look large and enticing in a commercial, but the one you receive often doesn't match that idealized version, being smaller and less appealing. Recognizing these differences can help us navigate our perceptions of the world and foster deeper connections with others. What do you think? How often have you found that what you see isn't quite what it seems? When it comes to understanding the difference between appearance and reality, it's interesting to think about why we often place so much emphasis on appearances. Our senses naturally draw us to what we see, hear, and feel. These impressions can be quick and easy to digest. For instance, grasping someone's personality typically takes more time than just noticing how they're dressed. This tendency to judge based on looks is common. However, while appearances can sometimes mislead us, that's not always the case. Often, what we see does reflect the truth. If a person greets you with a smile and behaves kindly, it's likely that they're indeed a kind person. Similarly, if the sky appears overcast, it's reasonable to expect rain. The important takeaway here is to avoid solely relying on appearances. Instead, we should make an effort to explore deeper when necessary. This encourages patience and attentiveness. For example, if someone seems upset, instead of assuming they're angry with you, consider asking if they're okay. You may discover they're having a difficult day, and it has nothing to do with you. Understanding appearance compared to reality also involves self-awareness. There are times when we may project a certain image to others, even if it doesn't align with our true feelings. For example, you might act confident during a job interview, even though you feel nervous inside. While this can be useful in certain situations, it's equally important to be genuine with yourself about your emotions and identity. Ultimately, the concept of appearance versus reality teaches us to look beyond the surface. It prompts us to question what we see, carefully consider our judgments, and seek to understand the truth in varying situations, whether relating to a person or an event. There is often more beneath the surface than what is immediately apparent. By approaching things with curiosity and thoughtfulness, we can inch closer to grasping the reality that exists beyond appearances. Now let's consider the problem of evil. This is one of humanity's oldest and most challenging questions. Why do bad things happen in a world that is believed to be governed by a good and powerful God? If God is all-loving and all-powerful, why is there evil? This inquiry has intrigued thinkers, believers, and skeptics alike for centuries. Let's break it down into simpler terms to better understand why it is such a difficult issue. Imagine a world where everything is just right. No suffering, no pain, and no negativity. If God is good and has the power to create anything, it seems logical to believe he would design such a perfect world. Yet when we look around, the reality is quite different. People do get sick, natural disasters can destroy homes, and sometimes people intentionally hurt each other. This raises a significant question. How can these challenges exist if God is both loving and powerful? To delve deeper, we can explore two types of evil. The first type is known as moral evil. This refers to the harm that stems from people's actions. For instance, when someone lies, steals, or hurts another person, that is moral evil. These actions occur because individuals make choices that negatively impact others. The second type is called natural evil, which encompasses events like earthquakes, floods, and diseases. Unlike moral evil, these are not the result of human choices, but rather natural occurrences. Some people try to address the problem of evil by suggesting that free will plays a crucial role. They believe that God granted humans the ability to make their own choices, which is essential for love, creativity, and good deeds. However, this freedom also allows for the possibility of making harmful choices. For example, if a person could only tell the truth, their honesty would not be a genuine choice. It would be imposed upon them. Advocates of this view argue that the value of free will justifies the risks of individuals sometimes choosing wrongly. However, free will does not account for everything. Consider natural evil. A hurricane doesn't result from a person's choice, and cancer isn't created by someone deciding to hurt another. Some people explain natural evil by saying it's an inherent part of how our world operates. Natural disasters occur due to the Earth's crust shifting, and diseases are part of biological processes. While these aspects can lead to suffering, they are also essential for the functioning of life. Without these processes, there wouldn't be life as we know it. Others believe that evil and suffering serve as tests or lessons. They argue that facing hardships can help individuals grow stronger, kinder, or more empathetic. For example, someone who survives a serious illness might develop greater compassion for others facing similar struggles. This perspective suggests that suffering has a purpose, even if it's not always clear to us. However, such explanations can sometimes feel inadequate. Understanding the existence of suffering can be challenging, especially in heartbreaking situations like the loss of a child or during a major disaster. Some people suggest that these hardships may fall into a bigger plan that we simply cannot comprehend. This idea, often referred to as the greater good defense, likens our perspective to looking at just a few puzzle pieces, while believing that God sees the complete picture. While this viewpoint may offer comfort to some, it leaves others feeling unfulfilled, as it doesn't provide a concrete answer. On the other hand, some argue that the presence of suffering indicates that either God does not exist or lacks the power or love many attribute to him. They propose that if God truly wished to eliminate suffering, he could. Since suffering exists, they conclude it suggests the absence of a loving, all-powerful God. This perspective is a common argument among atheists. There are also those who hold a different view. They believe in God, but think his involvement in our lives isn't day-to-day. This belief is sometimes labeled deism, which implies that God set the world in motion and then allowed it to function independently, similar to a clock that has been wound and left to tick on its own. In this belief system, God doesn't intervene to stop every act of wrongdoing or catastrophe. The problem of evil isn't just a philosophical debate. It profoundly affects how we navigate our lives and confront suffering. When people are faced with pain, they often ponder, why did this happen to me? This question is highly personal, and individuals seek solace in various ways. Some turn to their faith, finding strength in the belief that God accompanies them through their darkest times. Others may seek meaning by helping those in similar situations, trying to bring good out of bad circumstances. For example, consider someone who loses their home in a natural disaster. If they have faith, they may pray for resilience and guidance. Conversely, if they are not religious, they might focus on rebuilding their life and supporting their community. Both paths illustrate how people cope with suffering in personal and meaningful ways. Another approach to dealing with the problem of evil is to emphasize human action. Rather than asking why suffering persists, some choose to ask what they can do to alleviate it. For instance, when confronted with hunger or homelessness, individuals might decide to volunteer their time or donate to those in need. This response doesn't answer the question of why suffering exists, but it channels energy into creating a positive impact, regardless. Ultimately, the issue of evil is complex and lacks a straightforward resolution. It invites us to reflect on our own beliefs and actions, guiding us to consider how we can respond to suffering in both our lives and the lives of others. The question of existence and non-existence has puzzled people for centuries, and it will likely continue to spark discussions for many more to come. Some individuals turn to their faith for answers, believing that a higher power has a plan, even if they can't see it clearly. Others find insights through science or philosophy, seeking natural explanations for the events around them. Then there are those who recognize that life is a mix of both good and bad experiences, choosing to focus on making the most out of each moment. The challenge of understanding evil encourages us to reflect deeply on the world, our beliefs, and our responses to suffering. It reminds us that life is intricate and often lacks simple answers. Still, this complexity invites us to cultivate kindness, compassion, and courage when faced with life's toughest questions. Now let's explore the concepts of being and nothingness. What does it truly mean to exist, and what does it mean to not exist? These questions might seem straightforward, yet they are some of the most challenging to tackle. Philosophers, writers, and thinkers have spent centuries trying to unwrap their meaning. Being refers to existence. It's the state of something that is real, present, or alive. Consider a tree, a person, or even an emotion like love. When we speak of something being, we are talking about its existence. We encounter being every day, often without giving it much thought. When you gaze at the sky, listen to music, or feel the warmth of the sun, you are recognizing the reality of things that exist. In contrast, nothingness signifies the absence of being. It's the state where something simply does not exist. Picture an empty room, devoid of people, furniture, and sound, just pure emptiness. Now stretch that idea to imagine absolute nothingness, where not even air, space, or time is present. This concept can be challenging because our brains are wired to think about what exists, making the idea of nothingness feel foreign. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre explored the themes of being and nothingness extensively. He argued that nothingness plays a vital role in what it means to be human. Unlike inanimate objects, humans have the unique capacity to reflect on our existence, contemplate our desires, and recognize what we are not. This awareness of nothingness shapes our experiences, even if we are not conscious of it. To illustrate this idea, let's consider a scenario. Imagine you're at a cafe, waiting for a friend. As you look around, you see people chatting, sipping coffee, and reading. These activities highlight the vibrant aspects of being. Each person exists in their own right, making choices and living out their individual experiences. In this moment of observation, you are acutely aware of both your existence and the potential absence of being that surrounds you, reminding you of the intricate dance between being and nothingness. Examples of existence can be found in the present moment, like when you're with friends. But when you notice one isn't there, their absence highlights a different concept: nothingness. This awareness of their absence can shift your feelings. Perhaps you feel disappointed, annoyed, or worried. Even though you can't see or touch nothingness, it's very real in how it affects us. Philosopher Sartre believed humans are unique because we have the ability to imagine what doesn't exist. For instance, if you're unhappy in your job, you might envision a life where you pursue a different path. That imagined life doesn't exist in real life, but thinking about it may motivate you to seek change. Sartre valued this talent for imagination and meaningful creation, seeing it as an essential part of what makes our lives special. We don't simply accept things as they are, we envision how they could be. This idea leads us to another important topic: freedom. Sartre argued that our awareness of being and nothingness gives us the freedom to make choices. For example, if you feel trapped in a daily routine, you might decide to try something new, like picking up a hobby or going on a trip. Making such choices can infuse your life with new meaning. However, freedom can also feel daunting. With the ability to choose comes the weight of responsibility. If things don't turn out as you hoped, there's no one else to blame. Thinking about nothingness can also illuminate the experience of loss. When a loved one passes away, their absence becomes a tangible nothingness in our lives. We can feel the void where they once were. While this kind of nothingness can be painful, it also reminds us of how significant that person was. It shows us that being and nothingness are intertwined, shaping one another in subtle ways. We can also explore being and nothingness through creativity. Take an artist, for instance, who begins with a blank canvas. Its emptiness represents nothingness. Yet as they add colors and shapes, they create something tangible. This same process occurs when a writer faces a blank page or a musician begins in silence. Creativity transforms nothingness into something meaningful. Lastly, the notion of nothingness brings up profound questions about life and death. What happens when we die? Do we enter nothingness, or is there something beyond? The answers vary greatly among individuals, shaped by personal beliefs and experiences. Some view death simply as an end, while others hold different perspectives about what might follow. Some people think the idea of nothingness is unsettling, while others have faith in an afterlife or some kind of continued existence. These big questions may not have straightforward answers, but pondering them can actually help us value life more fully. In our daily lives, we encounter elements of nothingness in small yet meaningful ways. For instance, consider a trip you were really looking forward to that got canceled, or an opportunity that slipped through your fingers. The feeling of what could have been can stir up emotions like sadness or frustration. Yet it can also serve as a gentle reminder to cherish the plans that do come together. This experience highlights the delicate balance between being and nothingness, presence and absence, hope and loss. These concepts aren't just abstract, they weave into our everyday experiences. We live in a world filled with tangible things, but we also continually notice what's absent, what could be, and what might remain out of reach. This awareness adds depth and meaning to our lives. It's part of what makes us human. We don't just exist, we reflect on our existence and envision what might lie beyond it. This ability to think and imagine is both a blessing and a challenge, shaping how we navigate the world around us. Now let's turn to wave-particle duality, an intriguing concept from physics. It describes how light and matter can behave either like particles or waves, depending on how we look at them. At first glance, this might seem perplexing or even impossible, but scientists have examined this phenomenon for over a century. Let's unpack it in simple terms to see how it works and why it matters. To start, let's think about waves. We encounter waves everywhere. Imagine the ripples on a pond when you toss a stone into the water. Those ripples spread out, distributing energy throughout the surface. Waves can also travel through the air, like sound waves, or through space, like light waves. Importantly, a wave isn't confined to a single spot, it spreads across an area. Now consider particles. Particles are minute bits of matter, like grains of sand or droplets of water. They're solid and occupy one location at a time. When you throw a ball, it follows a clear path from point A to point B, unlike the behavior of waves. So how can something exhibit both wave-like and particle-like qualities? This is where wave-particle duality comes into play. Scientists made their first discoveries about this through the study of light. For a long time, people believed light is often described as a wave that travels through space, bending around obstacles, much like water flows around a rock. However, in the early 20th century, scientists began to observe some unusual behaviors in light. Max Planck made an important discovery. Light energy seems to come in tiny packets called photons. Building on this, Albert Einstein demonstrated that light can behave like particles in specific situations. A key example of this is the photoelectric effect, where light hitting a metal surface can release electrons. This phenomenon makes sense only if we view light as being made of particles. But light doesn't always act like a particle. When light passes through two small slits, it creates an interference pattern of bright and dark stripes on a screen. This pattern occurs because the light waves are overlapping, which is a clear indication of wave behavior. So depending on how we observe it, light can exhibit both wave and particle characteristics. It's a blend of the two, not one or the other. Interestingly, this wave-particle duality isn't limited to light alone. Matter, such as electrons, also shows this behavior. For instance, when electrons pass through the same two slits, they create interference patterns just like light waves do. This was unexpected, as electrons are typically thought of as tiny particles, yet they behave like waves in this context. What's even more fascinating is that the way we observe these particles influences their behavior. If we set up a detector to find out which slit an electron goes through, it behaves like a particle, choosing one slit or the other. But if we don't detect it, the electron acts like a wave, passing through both slits simultaneously and producing the interference pattern. This means that simply observing the electron changes what it does, which is quite a challenging concept to grasp. How can something be both a wave and a particle at the same time? This question remains a mystery for scientists. What we do know is that this dual nature is essential to the principles of quantum mechanics, which studies the incredibly small components of our universe, like atoms and subatomic particles. The implications of wave-particle duality are significant. It alters our perception of reality. In our everyday lives, things are either in one place or another, solid or not. Yet, in the quantum realm, particles can exist in a sort of in-between state, not fitting neatly into the categories we are accustomed to. This duality plays a crucial role in explaining the behavior of atoms and molecules. For example, electrons don't simply orbit the nucleus in defined paths, but exist in a more complex manner. Imagine the nucleus of an atom surrounded by tiny particles, much like planets orbiting the sun. However, these particles don't follow a fixed path. Instead, they exist in clouds around the nucleus and behave more like waves. This wave-like behavior helps us understand why atoms remain stable and why they form bonds, creating everything we see and touch. Wave-particle duality isn't just a theoretical concept, it's practical too. Technologies such as lasers, solar panels, and the medical imaging devices we use depend on our understanding of light's dual nature. In fact, quantum mechanics, which includes ideas like wave-particle duality, forms the basis for modern computers and promising future technologies like quantum computing. To illustrate wave-particle duality, think of a person who can wear two different hats. Depending on what they are doing, they might wear one hat or the other. In a similar way, light and particles switch hats based on how we observe them. While this concept may seem strange at first, it reflects real aspects of our universe and reminds us that the natural world doesn't always behave according to the rules we expect. Instead, it operates under its own set of principles, which we are continually working to understand. This encourages us to keep asking questions and to remain open to new ideas, even when they challenge our existing beliefs. Now, let's explore Schrödinger's cat, a thought experiment in quantum physics that has intrigued thinkers for decades. It combines science, logic, and imagination to delve into the behavior of very small particles. To grasp this concept, we should first understand a bit about quantum mechanics, the science that examines atoms and particles. Unlike objects in our daily lives, these tiny particles engage in surprising behaviors, such as existing in two places at once, or exhibiting properties of both particles and waves. One particularly puzzling idea in quantum mechanics is called superposition. This means a particle can exist in multiple states simultaneously until it is observed or measured. For instance, an electron can spin in two different directions at the same time, or a photon of light might take two paths simultaneously. However, once we observe it, the particle chooses one state and acts as if it was always in that state. This concept might sound baffling, but experiments have proven that it reflects real behavior, even if it's far from what we experience in our everyday lives. In 1935, a physicist named Erwin Schrödinger introduced a thought experiment that captures the intriguing nature of quantum mechanics. Imagine placing a cat inside a sealed box, along with a few key items: a tiny radioactive atom, a Geiger counter to detect radiation, a vial of poison, and a mechanism that would break the vial if the Geiger counter picks up any radiation. Here's how it works. The radioactive atom has a 50% chance of decaying within a certain time frame, and a 50% chance of remaining unchanged. If the atom decays, the Geiger counter detects this change, activates the mechanism, and the vial breaks open, releasing the poison that ends the cat's life. Conversely, if the atom doesn't decay, the vial remains intact and the cat lives. Now here's where things get strange. According to quantum mechanics, until you open the box and check inside, the radioactive atom is thought to be in a state called superposition, meaning it's both decayed and not decayed at the same time. Since the cat's fate hinges on the state of the atom, the cat is also considered to be in superposition, existing as both alive and dead until someone observes it. When you finally open the box, this superposition collapses, and the atom settles into one of its two possible states. The cat then becomes either fully alive or fully dead. The idea of a cat being both alive and dead at the same time highlights a paradox that seems disconnected from our everyday experiences. We view objects like cats as being one state or the other, not both at once. Schrödinger's cat isn't meant to be a literal scenario. It's a thought experiment that illustrates the oddities of applying quantum rules to larger objects, things we typically see as clearly defined. This experiment also prompts significant questions about how we observe and interpret reality in the realm of quantum mechanics. Unlike our familiar world where looking at a tree doesn't influence its growth, observing a quantum particle can actually affect its state, suggesting that the act of observation has a unique power. Ultimately, Schrödinger's cat invites us to explore broader questions in science and philosophy. What is reality before we observe it? Is the cat genuinely in two states simultaneously, or is it only one state until we take a look? These questions challenge our understanding of existence and how we perceive the world around us. We still don't have a clear answer to how quantum mechanics works, and different interpretations try to shed light on this mystery. One well-known perspective is the Copenhagen interpretation. It proposes that a cat in a box is in a strange state, being both alive and dead until someone checks. At that moment of observation, this peculiar state changes and the cat becomes either alive or dead. On the other hand, there's the many worlds theory, which suggests that when the box is opened, the universe splits into two separate outcomes, one where the cat is alive and another where it is dead. In this view, both situations exist, but they are in parallel universes that we can't see or interact with. Schrödinger's cat isn't just a playful thought experiment. It connects to real-world technology. The principles of quantum mechanics play a key role in how our computers, smartphones, and even medical imaging machines operate. This framework is essential for technologies that depend on the behavior of tiny particles. Schrödinger's cat highlights the complex puzzles scientists face when studying the quantum world. In our everyday experiences, we don't notice these superpositions because quantum effects tend to be too small to see. For larger objects, like cats or people, these effects seem to vanish, allowing things to behave predictably. However, at the tiniest scales, particles don't follow the same rules, making quantum mechanics feel quite strange. This thought experiment also nudges us to think about curiosity and the limits of our knowledge. Until we open the box, we don't know the state of the cat, which mirrors how much of science and life revolves around observation, questioning, and testing. Even unexpected answers can lead to deeper understanding, reminding us that asking questions fosters exploration of the world. Schrödinger's cat teaches us that reality can be more complex than it appears. It challenges us to look beyond our immediate perceptions and consider the intricate, often hidden workings of the universe. By delving into these unusual concepts, scientists and thinkers broaden our understanding and reveal new possibilities. Now let's move on to another intriguing discussion: the debate between the Big Bang Theory and the steady-state theory. This conversation revolves around how the universe began, or whether it ever had a distinct starting point. Both the Big Bang Theory and the steady-state theory seek to explain how the universe works, but they approach this question in distinct ways. Let's explore the key differences in straightforward terms. The Big Bang Theory suggests that the universe began as a single point, a singularity, that has been expanding ever since. Picture this like a balloon. When you first inflate a balloon, it starts out small. As you blow air into it, the balloon gets bigger. Similarly, the universe began about 13.8 billion years ago, densely packed into an incredibly hot space. Then, in a dramatic moment, it began to expand. As it expanded, the universe cooled down, allowing tiny particles to form. Over time, these particles came together to create atoms, which eventually clustered into stars, galaxies, and everything we observe today. This theory helps explain why galaxies appear to be moving away from us. It's not that they're traveling through space, but rather, space itself is expanding and carrying the galaxies along with it. Conversely, the steady-state theory offers a different view. It posits that the universe has no beginning or end. Instead, it has always existed in a constant state. According to this theory, as the universe expands, new matter is created to fill the gaps, which keeps the overall density of the universe consistent, even as it grows. Imagine a loaf of bread rising in the oven. As the bread expands, tiny bits of dough emerge, making the bread look the same even though it is growing. In this analogy, the universe is like that loaf, always expanding but maintaining the same overall appearance. At first glance, both ideas might seem plausible since they both acknowledge the universe's expansion. This leads to the important question: how do scientists determine which theory is more accurate? They rely on evidence. One significant piece supporting the Big Bang Theory is known as the cosmic microwave background, CMB. This faint glow of radiation fills the universe, acting like a snapshot of what the universe looked like just a few 100,000 years after the Big Bang. The CMB is essentially leftover heat from the early universe, and it aligns perfectly with the predictions made by the Big Bang Theory. In contrast, the steady-state theory fails to account for this CMB. Another clue comes from the distribution of galaxies in the universe. The Big Bang Theory suggests that the universe should present unique characteristics based on its expansion. Understanding these concepts helps us grasp the complexity of our universe's origins. Isn't it fascinating how scientists use evidence to piece together the story of our cosmos? When we explore the depths of space, we're also peering back in time. What we observe reveals that the universe once looked quite different, with young galaxies forming in a smaller, denser space. This observation challenges the steady-state theory, which suggests the universe is unchanging over time. The big shift to the Big Bang Theory didn't happen overnight. It unfolded over many years of study and observation. In the 1920s, a scientist named Edwin Hubble made a significant discovery. He found that galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther they are, the faster they seem to be traveling. This was a key indicator that the universe is expanding, suggesting it may have originated from a single point. Fast forward to the 1960s, when scientists uncovered the cosmic microwave background, a monumental finding because it offered solid proof that the universe had a hot and dense beginning. Since then, additional discoveries, such as how elements like hydrogen and helium formed, have further supported the Big Bang Theory. On the other hand, the steady-state theory had its proponents as well. Many scientists found it attractive because it sidestepped the complex question of the universe's origin. If it has always existed as it is, there's no need to explain a beginning. At first, this seemed like a neat and straightforward solution. However, as more evidence accumulated, it became clear that the Big Bang theory aligned better with the facts. The discussion between these two theories isn't just scientific, it dives into larger philosophical questions. The Big Bang theory implies a beginning for the universe, prompting inquiries like, what triggered this event, or was there anything before the Big Bang? These questions remain partially unanswered, inviting us to wonder and imagine. In contrast, the steady-state theory elegantly avoids these inquiries by positing that the universe has always existed in its current state. While this comforted some by removing the mystery of a starting point, it also limited our understanding of how the universe evolved into what we see today. Even though the Big Bang theory is now widely accepted, science remains flexible and open to new ideas. For instance, researchers are still investigating what caused the Big Bang. Some theories propose that our universe could be part of a larger multiverse, with various universes coexisting alongside each other. So, while we may lean towards one explanation now, the pursuit of knowledge never stops, and there's always room for new ideas. Let's consider the idea that the universe may go through cycles of expansion and contraction. This notion is intriguing, but researchers are still examining and debating it. The ongoing discussion between the Big Bang theory and the steady-state theory illustrates how science really operates. Science begins with questions and ideas, which are then tested against evidence. Theories that align well with the evidence persist, while others are set aside. This methodical approach helps us inch closer to understanding the universe and where we fit within it. Both the Big Bang theory and the steady-state theory attempt to unravel the same mystery, how the universe functions. However, evidence, like the cosmic microwave background radiation and the way galaxies are arranged, suggests that the universe indeed had a starting point. Even so, the narrative of how the universe began is still unfolding, and there's always more to learn. By continuously asking questions, testing ideas, and remaining open to new findings, science deepens our comprehension of the cosmos. Now let's dive into the idea of time's arrow and reversible physics, a topic that explores how we perceive time and why it appears to flow in one direction. This has intrigued scientists and philosophers for ages. In our daily lives, we perceive time as moving forward. This is often referred to as time's arrow. For instance, events occur in a sequence. The past leads to the present, which in turn guides us toward the future. Think about breaking an egg. Once it's done, you can't return it to its original state. Similarly, smoke rises from a fire, but it doesn't magically flow back into the wood. Time appears to move forward based on these experiences. Reversible physics, however, comes from the principles that govern how particles and forces interact. Many of these scientific laws remain indifferent to the direction of time. For example, if you watched a video of two billiard balls colliding and then played it in reverse, the motion still makes sense. The equations describing their movements are valid whether time is moving forward or backward. This concept is known as time reversal symmetry. So here's the thought-provoking question. If the laws of physics do not dictate that time can only flow in one direction, why do we experience time's arrow in our everyday lives? Why can we recall the past but not foresee the future? Can we mix milk into coffee in such a way that we can't unmix it? The answer involves a concept known as entropy, which measures the level of disorder in a system. According to the second law of thermodynamics, in a closed system, entropy tends to increase over time. Put simply, things naturally shift from order to disorder. Consider a box filled with marbles, half red and half blue, that are neatly separated. If you shake the box, the marbles will mix. However, no matter how much you shake, you won't be able to get them back to their original, perfectly separated state. This inherent increase in disorder helps us understand why certain processes seem irreversible. Take breaking an egg as another example. When you crack it open, the organization of its structure breaks down, and it becomes almost impossible to return it to its original form. Similarly, when smoke disperses into the air after a fire, it spreads out and becomes more random. These changes in entropy provide us with a clear sense of past and future. Now, if entropy explains why time seems to flow in one direction, why do the laws of physics function the same way whether we look backward or forward? The answer lies in how individual particles behave. On their own, they follow reversible rules, but in larger groups, like eggs, smoke, or even galaxies, they tend to adhere to the direction of time due to entropy. Imagine dropping a glass of water. It shatters and spills everywhere, increasing disorder. It's very unlikely you'll see the glass magically reassemble on its own. However, if you could zoom in on the individual particles of glass and water, you'd find that the underlying physics wouldn't care which direction time flows. It's only when we consider the entire system that the passage of time becomes apparent. Scientists have also examined how entropy relates to the universe as a whole. The Big Bang theory suggests that the universe began in a state of very low entropy, meaning it was highly ordered. Over billions of years, as the universe has expanded, entropy has increased. This growth might explain why time flows in one direction. It reflects the universe's constant movement from order to disorder. But what about the future? Some scientists speculate that the universe could eventually reach a point of maximum entropy, where everything is in complete disorder and nothing changes anymore. This situation is sometimes referred to as heat death. If it occurs, the concept of time's arrow might lose its meaning altogether, as there would be no changes to mark the passage of time. There is often a conversation around the idea that past, present, and future might be less distinct than we typically think. For example, some theories suggest that in the realms of black holes and quantum physics, time could behave unpredictably. Some scientists even ponder the existence of parallel universes in which time flows in reverse. While these thoughts spark curiosity, the concepts are still under exploration and discussion. The relationship between what we call time's arrow and reversible physics goes beyond just scientific inquiry. It touches on our everyday experiences. Take our memories, for instance. They serve as reminders of the past, helping us recount yesterday's events, while the future remains uncertain. This ties into the concept of increasing entropy, as our brains catalog and store information, while the world around us grows more disordered. Additionally, aging is another clear example of time's arrow in action, as our bodies inevitably change in irreversible ways over time. Even though the flow of time seems straightforward in our lives, it's intriguing to consider that the fundamental principles of the universe might not share the same perspective. This tension between time's arrow and reversible physics highlights that our experience of the world doesn't always reflect the more complex reality beneath the surface. The universe holds plenty of mysteries just waiting to be revealed. In essence, time's arrow and reversible physics offer two perspectives on time. One aligns with our daily experiences and the natural progression from past to future, while the other is based on the universal laws that allow time to move in various directions. Together, these views illustrate the incredible complexity and surprises that the universe has to offer. Through ongoing research, scientists are continually uncovering more about time's nature and its influence on everything around us. Now, let's delve into the concept of the multiverse. This idea is among the most intriguing and mind-boggling in both science and philosophy. The multiverse suggests that our universe, the one we're familiar with, may not stand alone. Instead, there could be countless other universes, each operating under its own unique rules, events, and possibilities. These different universes collectively form what we call the multiverse. At first glance, the idea of a multiverse may seem like something out of a science fiction story, but it has serious grounding in some of the most advanced theories in physics. So what exactly is the multiverse, and why do scientists believe it might be real? What implications could it have for our understanding of existence? To begin, picture our universe. It's immense, brimming with galaxies, stars, and planets, all existing within the fabric of space and time. But what if there is more to explore beyond what we see? Imagine our universe as just one bubble in a much larger collection of bubbles, where each bubble represents a unique universe, separate from our own. This is a way to envision what's often called the multiverse. There are several theories about how the multiverse might operate. One of these comes from the Big Bang Theory, which describes how our universe began. According to this theory, the universe started as an incredibly small, dense point and has been expanding ever since. Some versions of this idea suggest that this expansion could repeat, potentially giving rise to new universes with each cycle. This ongoing process is sometimes referred to as eternal inflation, hinting that new universes might be continuously formed, each distinct from the last. Another perspective stems from quantum mechanics, the branch of physics that studies very tiny particles. In this realm, particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously, a concept known as superposition. When we observe a particle, it appears to choose one state. This phenomenon leads some scientists to ponder whether the universe splits into different versions based on every possible outcome. For instance, think about flipping a coin. One universe could exist where it lands heads, while another exists where it lands tails. This idea is known as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. Textiles about string theory add yet another layer to our understanding of the multiverse. String theory aims to explain how all the forces and particles in the universe fit together. It suggests the possibility of extra dimensions beyond the three we know and the dimension of time. These additional dimensions could open up opportunities for the existence of other universes governed by entirely different physical laws. If the multiverse does exist, it presents some astonishing possibilities. For instance, there could be universes where the conditions are radically different from ours. In some of these realities, gravity might be stronger or weaker, or stars might not exist at all. There could even be universes where life has evolved in unpredictable ways, or where fundamental constants, like the speed of light, differ from what we know. Moreover, the multiverse might help address significant questions regarding our own universe. Scientists often wonder why the laws of physics in our universe are precisely calibrated to support life. If certain values, such as gravity's strength, were even slightly altered, stars and planets might never have formed, making life as we know it impossible. This mystery is known as the fine-tuning problem, and the multiverse could provide insights into why our universe has the characteristics it does. If there are countless universes with different laws, it's not surprising that we find ourselves in a universe suitable for life. After all, if the conditions weren't right, we wouldn't be here to ponder this question. However, the concept of the multiverse also introduces some challenges. A key question is whether we can actually prove it exists. Since, by definition, other universes would exist separately from ours, we might not have any way to see or measure them. This keeps the multiverse firmly in the realm of hypothesis, an intriguing idea, but one we cannot confirm at this stage. Nonetheless, scientists are actively searching for clues. One method involves studying the cosmic microwave background, CMB, which is the faint glow left over from the Big Bang. If our universe has interacted with other universes in the past, those encounters might have left traces in the CMB that we could potentially detect. So far, however, no clear signs have been found, but the search is ongoing. Alongside these scientific inquiries, the multiverse brings up philosophical questions. If there are infinite universes, what does that mean for our place in the cosmos? Are we merely a tiny part of a vast picture? Moreover, if there are versions of ourselves in other worlds, how does that affect our understanding of identity and free will? These are complex questions, and while they don't have straightforward answers, they challenge us to think differently about reality. Another thought-provoking issue is whether the multiverse has a beginning or an end. If new universes are constantly being created, does that imply the multiverse is infinite? And if it is, does that mean every conceivable version of events occurs somewhere? While these ideas can be difficult to grasp, they highlight how much we still have to learn about our existence. The multiverse is more than just an abstract notion. It offers a way to delve into some of the greatest mysteries in science. By exploring the idea of other universes, scientists are pushing the limits of what we understand about space, time, and reality itself. Even if we never obtain direct evidence of the multiverse, this exploration still enhances our understanding of our own universe and our role within it. Whether the multiverse exists or not, the concept ignites our curiosity and wonder. It reminds us that the universe we observe may just be a small piece of a much broader, more intricate reality. By continually asking questions and exploring possibilities, we enrich our grasp of the cosmos and our place in it. The relationship between individualism and collectivism is a fascinating topic in science and society. At its core, this discussion revolves around how people view their roles within a community and how they balance personal freedom with the needs of the group. These concepts influence cultures, communities, and even our personal relationships in meaningful ways. Let's break it down into straightforward terms to better grasp these ideas and how they impact our everyday lives. Individualism emphasizes the importance of the individual. In cultures that lean towards individualism, people often prioritize their personal goals, choices, and achievements. The belief here is that everyone should have the freedom to forge their own path and make their own decisions. This value system champions independence and self-reliance. For instance, in an individualist society, someone might choose to relocate for a job opportunity, placing their career aspirations above staying close to family. This reflects the idea that personal success holds greater significance than geographic ties. Conversely, collectivism prioritizes the group over the individual. In these cultures, the focus shifts toward the needs of the family, community, or society as a whole. The underlying belief is that through cooperation and mutual support, the group gains strength. For example, an individual in a collectivist society might opt to remain in their hometown to care for aging parents or help run the family business, even if they dream of exploring life elsewhere. Both individualism and collectivism come with their distinct strengths and weaknesses. Neither is inherently superior in all situations. Rather, they showcase varied approaches to interpersonal relationships. One of the major benefits of individualism is that it fosters personal freedom and creativity. People are encouraged to explore their interests, make independent choices, and express themselves. This can fuel innovation, as individuals feel empowered to think creatively and devise new solutions. For example, someone in an individualist culture might decide to start their own business or dive into an artistic career, even if it involves taking significant risks. The emphasis on personal responsibility also motivates many to work hard and achieve success independently. However, individualism isn't without its drawbacks. When the focus becomes too narrow, it can lead to feelings of isolation and a lack of community support. For example, a person who prioritizes their career might miss out on building strong relationships within their community. In discussing these ideas, consider how they resonate with your own experiences. Do you find yourself leaning more towards individualism or collectivism in your life and choices? Reflecting on your own perspectives can enhance your understanding of these concepts and how they apply to the world around you. People often feel lonely when they lack close relationships with family or friends. In some cases, individualism can lead to competitiveness that feels unhealthy. Individuals might become so focused on being the best that they forget the importance of working together. On the other hand, collectivism highlights teamwork and the idea that we should support one another. In collectivist cultures, relationships tend to be strong because individuals spend a lot of time helping their families, friends, and larger communities. For example, in such a society, you might see people coming together to celebrate festivals or assist those in need, creating a deep sense of belonging and purpose. However, collectivism isn't without its downsides. When the needs of the group always take precedence, individuals might feel pressured to abandon their own dreams and aspirations. Picture a situation where someone in a collectivist culture feels they cannot pursue a career they're passionate about because their family expects them to fulfill a different role. In extreme cases, this mindset can lead to conformity, where individuals feel they must act or think a certain way just to fit in, even if it means sidelining their true selves. These contrasting ways of thinking extend beyond cultures. They also appear in everyday situations. Consider a workplace. In an individualist setting, employees may be recognized for their personal achievements, with promotions likely going to those who stand out the most. Conversely, in a collectivist workplace, the emphasis might be on teamwork and collaboration, measuring success by how well the entire team performs, not just one person. The balance between individualism and collectivism can vary widely in families as well. In an individualist family, a young adult might prioritize their independence and move out at the earliest opportunity. In contrast, within a collectivist family, they might choose to stay home longer, taking on household responsibilities and valuing the family unit over personal freedom. A useful way to grasp these differences is to consider how success is defined in each context. In individualist cultures, success often centers around personal achievements, like securing a good job, earning a substantial income, or gaining recognition for one's skills. On the other hand, in collectivist cultures, success is frequently defined by how much one has contributed to their family or community. Both perspectives hold value, but they emphasize different aspects of what it means to succeed. It's important to recognize that most cultures aren't strictly individualist or collectivist. Rather, they often blend elements of both. For instance, a nation might prioritize individual freedom, especially in career choices, while still placing significant importance on family responsibilities. In the same way, people can combine these ideas in their own lives. Someone might chase after personal goals, but also dedicate time to support friends and family. The discussion surrounding individualism and collectivism isn't about choosing one over the other. It's about striking a balance. Sometimes, it makes sense to focus on your own needs, while in other situations, putting the group's needs first is more critical. Think about it. When picking a career, you might want to pursue your dreams. However, if a close friend needs help, dropping everything to support them is just as vital. Both individualism and collectivism offer valuable lessons. Individualism encourages us to appreciate personal freedom, take responsibility for our choices, and embrace creativity. On the other hand, collectivism highlights the value of community, teamwork, and looking after one another. By understanding both viewpoints, we can learn to balance our own desires with the needs of those around us. Ultimately, this conversation is about how we coexist as members of society. It invites us to reflect on what we owe to ourselves and to each other. Through this exploration, we can foster a world where both individuals and communities flourish. Next, let's turn our attention to the discussion about tradition and progress. This topic revolves around finding a middle ground between what has come before and what lies ahead. Tradition honors the customs, systems, practices, and beliefs that have been handed down over time. Progress, in contrast, is about change, innovation, and looking forward. While both concepts are significant, they can sometimes conflict, leaving individuals to consider which should take precedence. Tradition is all about maintaining consistency. It preserves older practices that have proven effective in the past. This can provide people with a sense of stability and a stronger identity. Traditions might be as simple as celebrating holidays a certain way, or as intricate as following specific cultural or religious rituals. For many, they serve as a connection to ancestors and a means of engaging with their heritage. Wearing traditional attire during weddings or gathering with family for holiday meals are examples of how people honor their past. Tradition also fosters a sense of belonging. When individuals participate in shared customs, they feel part of something larger. Being part of something larger than ourselves can strengthen connections within families, communities, and cultures. Take, for example, a town festival that occurs every year. This gathering brings people together, fostering a sense of shared values and history. On the other hand, progress is all about moving forward and discovering better ways to do things. It is focused on improvement, whether that's through technology, fresh ideas, or different lifestyles. Progress encourages us to reconsider old ways of thinking and question whether they still hold relevance today. For instance, progress might look like developing new medical treatments or creating laws that support equality and fairness. It addresses issues that traditions may overlook, explaining why we have advancements like electricity, vaccines, and faster transportation. Additionally, progress inspires people to think critically and envision new possibilities. Have you ever considered how questioning outdated social norms has led to increased rights for women and greater acceptance of different cultures? However, the tension between tradition and progress often arises when one side feels threatened by the other. Those who hold tradition dear might view progress as disrespectful or risky, worrying that change could weaken the bonds that bring communities together. Conversely, those who prioritize progress may perceive tradition as outdated or restrictive, believing it hinders societal evolution. Let's think about a small town where farming has been the main way of life for generations. Families have passed down their farming techniques, and the community values hard work and a connection to the land. But then a company introduces new farming technology that promises easier work and faster crop growth. Some townsfolk might welcome this as a step forward, excited about the new possibilities it brings. Others, however, may fear that these machines will overshadow the skills and traditions that define their way of life. This tension also plays out in how people celebrate traditions in a changing world. Many cultures have traditional clothing or festivals integral to their identity for centuries. As the world becomes more interconnected, you might observe a blending of these traditions with modern styles or new customs. For some, this fusion represents progress and adaptation. For others, it feels like a loss of something vital. In families, finding a balance between tradition and progress can lead to complex challenges. How do you think communities can navigate this delicate relationship? Parents often wish to pass down their customs and values, while younger generations may want to forge their own paths. For instance, a family might traditionally cook specific dishes during holidays, but younger members might be inclined to experiment with new recipes or celebrate in different ways. Balancing the desire to honor the past with the need for new ideas can be challenging, yet it can also be quite rewarding. Traditions play an essential role in providing guidance, particularly during uncertain times. When faced with difficult choices, people often look to their traditions for support. Take, for example, the practices surrounding significant life events like weddings or funerals. These traditions offer a framework that helps individuals navigate the meaning of these moments. Additionally, traditions can preserve valuable knowledge, such as age-old recipes or farming techniques that have proven effective over generations. However, not all traditions stand the test of time. Some may cling to outdated beliefs or practices that exclude certain individuals or perpetuate unfair roles. In today's more inclusive society, these traditions can feel irrelevant or even harmful. This is where progress plays a pivotal role. While it often brings improvements and advancements, it also brings about uncertainty and sometimes unexpected issues. For example, although new technologies can simplify our lives, they might also lead to problems like environmental degradation or social isolation. Fast-paced advancements can leave some individuals feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, particularly if they lack the resources to adapt. The discussion between tradition and progress isn't about choosing one over the other. Instead, it's about seeking a balance. Traditions remind us of our roots and foster connections with others, while progress encourages us to adapt and strive for a better future. The key lies in valuing the wisdom of the past while remaining open to new possibilities. For instance, a community might honor its heritage through traditional festivals, while also utilizing modern technology to enhance accessibility and engagement. Similarly, a family may cherish beloved recipes from the past, but explore new variations that cater to contemporary tastes. These examples demonstrate how tradition and progress can complement each other rather than clash. Ultimately, this discussion revolves around our growth while staying grounded. Traditions provide our roots, reminding us of who we are and what we cherish. In contrast, progress gives us wings to envision and create a brighter future. By respecting and integrating both, we can cultivate a world that values the past while embracing the opportunities of tomorrow. The discussion around globalization and nationalism centers on how individuals relate to the world versus their allegiance to their own nation. Globalization aims to bring people, economies, and cultures closer together, fostering a more interconnected global community. In contrast, nationalism highlights pride in one's country, advocating for the protection of its interests and the preservation of its unique identity. Both perspectives have important merits, but they can also clash with one another. Globalization is primarily about knocking down barriers. It involves countries and people becoming more interlinked through trade, communication, and travel. Take, for instance, the smartphone you use daily. It might be designed in one country, assembled in another, and contain parts sourced from several others. This global collaboration helps businesses expand, encourages the spread of new ideas, and provides consumers with access to a rich array of goods and cultures from all over the world. One of the standout advantages of globalization is economic growth. By engaging in trade with other nations, businesses can attract more customers and create additional jobs. Consumers gain too, as they enjoy a broader selection of products at more affordable prices. For example, fruits like bananas or avocados, which may not be grown in your region, can be found year-round thanks to international trade. Moreover, globalization boosts the exchange of ideas and cultural experiences. The internet has made it easier than ever for people to connect beyond their borders. Music, movies, food, and fashion from one country can quickly gain popularity in another. This cultural exchange fosters greater understanding and appreciation among diverse populations. However, globalization has its drawbacks. One significant issue is that it may contribute to economic inequality. While some businesses and individuals flourish in a global economy, others may struggle. Small local businesses often find it difficult to compete with large international firms, and jobs can be outsourced, leading to fewer opportunities for some workers. This disparity can leave certain groups feeling marginalized or overlooked. Globalization can also pose a threat to cultural identity. When international trends overshadow local customs, traditional or smaller cultures might feel diminished. For example, local languages, customs, or art forms could be at risk of being replaced by global influences, prompting concerns about losing the unique aspects of cultural heritage. Now let us explore nationalism, which emphasizes the importance of one's own country. Nationalism fosters a sense of unity and pride among its citizens and encourages the protection of national interests. But how does this focus on the local connect with the broader themes brought up by globalization? It's a conversation worth having, considering the balance between local identity and global influence. The idea that a country should prioritize the well-being of its own citizens while safeguarding its traditions, values, and interests is known as nationalism. This belief often fosters a sense of pride in a nation's history and achievements. For instance, when people celebrate national holidays or support local businesses, they are expressing their nationalism. One of the significant benefits of nationalism is that it can foster unity. When individuals feel a strong connection to their country, they might come together to tackle shared challenges or reach common goals. Take, for example, a community rallying to rebuild after a natural disaster. Their shared identity and determination can motivate them to work collectively. Additionally, nationalism plays a role in preserving unique local cultures and industries, ensuring that traditions and values don't fade away in an increasingly globalized world. Governments might support local farmers and artists, helping to maintain age-old practices that define a community. However, nationalism can also present challenges. If taken too far, it may result in isolation or conflict. For example, a nation overly focused on itself might cut off trade or collaborations with other countries. This approach can harm its economy and limit access to vital resources. Extreme nationalism can even create tension between nations, particularly when countries compete aggressively for resources like oil or water, leading to disputes or worse. Moreover, nationalism can complicate efforts to tackle global issues like climate change, which necessitate international cooperation. Here, the tension between globalization and nationalism often centers around priorities. Globalization highlights the advantages of collaboration and resource sharing, while nationalism emphasizes protecting one's own. For instance, trade agreements under globalization typically seek to establish rules that benefit multiple countries. In contrast, nationalism might favor policies that safeguard local jobs and industries. This debate also surfaces in discussions about immigration. Globalization promotes the free movement of people, allowing workers and students to cross borders in search of new opportunities. Nationalism, on the other hand, may argue for restrictions on immigration, prioritizing the job security and resources of local citizens. Both perspectives offer valid points, and striking the right balance can be quite complex. Even within the realm of culture, the effects of globalization and nationalism can be seen clearly. cultures can blend and learn from each other, creating a rich shared experience. On the other hand, nationalism often focuses on preserving traditions and limiting outside influences. For instance, while global music or fashion trends can unite people, they may also lead some individuals to feel that their own customs are being overlooked. It's essential to understand that globalization and nationalism aren't completely opposing forces. A nation can embrace certain aspects of globalization while still holding on to its unique identity. Take a country that engages in international trade, sharing its culture worldwide, yet still takes pride in its traditions and safeguards local industries. The challenge is to find a balance that serves both the nation and the global community. This balancing act can be observed in fair trade agreements, which aim to connect the world while protecting workers and the environment. Similarly, cultural events like international film festivals allow countries to share their stories while showcasing their distinct voices. At the heart of the discussion between globalization and nationalism is how people view their place in the world. Globalization highlights our connections and the opportunities that arise when we collaborate to tackle challenges. Nationalism emphasizes the significance of local communities and the duty to support our own people. By recognizing both viewpoints, we can create a world where nations work together and connect while still cherishing their unique identities. Globalization and nationalism don't have to compete. They can complement each other to shape a future that appreciates both the global community and local traditions. Achieving this harmony may not always be straightforward, but by listening to diverse perspectives, we can discover solutions that benefit everyone. Now let's move on to the topic of equality and equity. Understanding the difference between these concepts is vital when discussing justice and opportunities. While they are related, they are not the same. Equality involves treating everyone the same, implying that everyone should have the same rights, opportunities, and resources, irrespective of their backgrounds. For example, in a classroom, equality might mean that every student receives the same textbook and has access to the same materials. When we talk about fairness, we often think of everyone receiving the same treatment. This is known as equality. However, there's another important concept called equity, which means providing individuals with what they specifically need to succeed. Sometimes, being fair means recognizing that people come from different backgrounds and face unique challenges. Consider the classroom. Think of equity as offering extra support to a student who struggles with reading, or providing tools like hearing aids for a student with hearing loss. Here, the goal is to ensure that everyone has the support necessary to achieve the same outcomes. The distinction between equality and equity lies in understanding these differences. Imagine a race where all runners begin at the same starting line. If one runner has a sprained ankle, equal treatment would mean everyone competes under the same conditions. This approach misses the reality that the injured runner is already at a disadvantage. In contrast, equity would involve giving that injured runner extra time or assistance to make the competition fairer for everyone. One of the strengths of equality is its simplicity. It feels straightforward and appears fair at first glance. Treating everyone the same seems like the right approach, especially when it comes to laws, rules, and opportunities, like voting rights. Everyone should have the same ability to participate, no matter their background. However, equality doesn't always guarantee fairness. If individuals face unique challenges or barriers, treating them identically might not be the most helpful strategy. For instance, providing the same resources to someone already at a disadvantage compared to someone more privileged can widen the gap between them. This is where equity steps in. Equity acknowledges that true fairness sometimes means giving more support to those who need it most. It's about understanding that not everyone starts from the same place. For example, in healthcare, equity could involve allocating more resources to communities that experience higher rates of illness or have limited access to medical care. In education, equity might mean directing additional funding to schools in low-income neighborhoods to ensure that every student has a fair shot at success. However, applying equity can be more complicated. It requires us to assess individuals' unique needs and determine how to allocate resources accordingly. Some may feel that a focus on equity seems unfair, especially if they're unsure why certain groups are receiving additional support. It's essential to foster discussions about these concepts and consider how we can make our systems work better for everyone. Consider a workplace program that aims to provide extra training opportunities for underrepresented groups. While the intention is to create a more balanced and fair environment, some employees may still feel excluded. This highlights the ongoing discussion around equality and equity. To illustrate, think about a scholarship program. If we focus on equality, it means everyone has the same chance to apply and is assessed using the same standards. On the other hand, equity might involve giving priority to students from disadvantaged backgrounds who face greater challenges when it comes to attending college. Both approaches strive for fairness, but they do so in different ways. Now imagine a community park. Equality would suggest providing every neighborhood with a park of the same size. However, if some neighborhoods already have large parks while others lack any, this equal distribution may not feel fair. In contrast, an equitable approach would allocate more resources to the neighborhoods without parks, ensuring everyone has access to green spaces. The dialogue between equality and equity isn't simply about choosing one over the other. It's about recognizing when each approach is most suitable. For example, equality is effective when it comes to legal rights, like the right to vote or freedom of speech. However, equity becomes crucial in addressing disparities and helping everyone achieve similar outcomes. It's also important to see how equality and equity can complement each other. In education, equality may mean every student has access to quality teachers and schools. Equity takes it a step further by providing extra support, such as tutoring or access to technology, to those who need it most. By blending these two concepts, we can develop systems that are fair to all. This discussion prompts us to reflect on how we define fairness. Is it about offering everyone the same opportunities, or is it about ensuring that everyone achieves similar results? People may hold various views on this depending on their life experiences and values. Ultimately, the conversation surrounding equality and equity urges us to think critically about fairness and justice. It reminds us that while treating everyone the same seems straightforward, true fairness often involves recognizing the unique challenges that individuals face. By understanding these differences, we can work toward a world where everyone has an equal shot at success. The discussion about balancing freedom and security is essential, as both play significant roles in our lives. Freedom refers to the ability to make personal choices and live without excessive limitations. Security, on the other hand, is about safeguarding individuals from harm or danger. While both are necessary, they can sometimes clash. How much freedom should we give up for safety, and how much security should we sacrifice in order to remain free? These are crucial questions that impact individuals, communities, and entire nations. Freedom is fundamentally about personal choice and independence. It means having the ability to decide how to live your life without outside interference, including from the government. For example, freedom allows you to select your job, share your opinions, and travel without restrictions. It's a core value in many societies because it empowers people to control their own destinies. However, freedom also comes with its own risks. When everyone is free to make their own decisions, it can lead to harmful actions. Take traffic laws, for instance. If there were no rules about driving, people could go wherever they wanted. While this sounds liberating, it would likely result in chaos and accidents. This is where security plays a critical role. Security is about protection and ensuring that society can function smoothly and peacefully. It encompasses laws, rules, and systems designed to maintain order. For example, requiring seatbelts in cars or enforcing speed limits are measures aimed at reducing accidents and saving lives. While these rules may limit freedom in small ways, they make life safer for everyone. The challenge arises because increasing security often requires some reduction in freedom. For example, installing surveillance cameras in public areas can help deter crime, but it may also lead to feelings of lost privacy. Conversely, emphasizing freedom too much can result in safety concerns. If individuals could carry weapons without restriction, it might lead to more violence, making others feel unsafe. This tension becomes especially visible when governments respond to threats like terrorism or crime. After significant events that jeopardize public safety, we often see the introduction of stricter security measures, like enhanced airport screenings or surveillance programs. While these measures can foster a sense of safety, they raise important questions about privacy and freedom. For instance, should authorities have the right to monitor phone calls or emails in the name of security? Some people believe that monitoring is necessary to catch criminals, while others feel it infringes on their right to privacy. This tension between freedom and security often surfaces in everyday situations. Take schools, for instance. A school may enforce strict rules, such as requiring students to wear IDs or banning certain items in the name of safety. Though these rules can limit student freedom, they may create a more secure environment for everyone. The challenge is determining how strict these rules should be and whether they create unnecessary restrictions. Freedom has many benefits. It encourages creativity, independence, and responsibility. When people have the freedom to explore new ideas and take risks, they can make their own choices. A good example is freedom of speech, which allows individuals to share their opinions, even if those opinions are not widely accepted. This type of freedom fosters innovation, as it encourages people to think outside the box and challenge conventional wisdom. However, freedom without security can bring uncertainty and fear. For example, in communities where law enforcement is weak, citizens might feel unsafe, leading them to avoid social situations or refrain from taking risks. Security provides a stable foundation that allows freedom to flourish. When people feel secure, they are more likely to use their freedoms constructively. Conversely, an excessive emphasis on security can lead to its own set of issues. When governments or organizations prioritize security at all costs, it can result in strict regulations that infringe on individual rights. For instance, if a government decides to censor the internet to shield people from harmful content, it might also limit access to important information or stifle free speech. In the worst instances, this type of control could lead to authoritarianism, where leaders use the guise of security to curtail freedoms. The balance between freedom and security often shifts depending on the situation. During crises such as wars or natural disasters, people might be willing to accept more restrictions on their freedoms to ensure safety. For example, during a pandemic, governments may impose lockdowns or mandate vaccinations to safeguard public health. While these measures can limit personal freedoms, they can also save lives. The real question is how much restriction is necessary and for how long it should remain in place. In our daily lives, we frequently navigate the trade-offs between freedom and security. For example, when you lock your doors at night, you're sacrificing the freedom of leaving your home open in exchange for the peace of mind that comes with added safety. How do you think we can better balance these two important aspects of our lives? You're given a certain level of protection from intruders when you share personal information online. In exchange for using specific services, you're trading some of your privacy for convenience and access. Finding the right balance between individual freedom and security can be challenging. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, as it often reflects the values of a society and its unique challenges. Some individuals lean toward prioritizing freedom. They believe people should have maximum control over their lives and choices. Others place greater importance on security, thinking that safety and order are essential, even at the expense of some freedoms. This leads to another important aspect: trust. When people trust that authorities are acting responsibly, they are generally more willing to accept security measures. For instance, if a government is open about the reasons behind a new law and explains how it will protect citizens' rights, people are more likely to be supportive. Without that trust, even well-meaning security measures can feel oppressive. Ultimately, the discussion of freedom and security centers around creating a society where individuals feel both safe and empowered. Freedom allows people to pursue their goals, make choices, and express themselves. On the other hand, security offers the stability and protection that enable them to enjoy those freedoms. By thoughtfully considering the trade-offs and being open to diverse viewpoints, we can find ways to respect and uphold both freedom and security. Shifting our focus a bit, let's consider how people view the world through the lens of optimism and pessimism. Optimism is the belief that, despite challenges, things will eventually work out. Pessimism, in contrast, tends to center on the idea that difficulties are likely to arise and problems will be hard to solve. Each perspective shapes how individuals approach life, cope with challenges, and interact with one another. Optimism is often about finding the silver lining. Optimistic people tend to identify opportunities even in tough situations, believing that their efforts can lead to positive outcomes. Take, for instance, someone who finds themselves out of a job. An optimist may see this as a chance to explore a new field or acquire additional skills. This hopeful outlook can be a powerful motivator, encouraging individuals to take action and persist, even when the future is uncertain. Moreover, optimism has been linked to improved mental and physical health. Research indicates that optimistic individuals recover more effectively from setbacks. By understanding these dynamics, we can appreciate how our mindset influences not only our personal experiences, but also the broader society we share. When it comes to coping with stress and building strong relationships, optimism can play a significant role. One reason for this is that optimistic people tend to focus on solutions instead of getting stuck on problems. For example, imagine someone facing a challenging project at work. An optimist might break the project down into smaller, manageable tasks, rather than becoming overwhelmed by how difficult it seems. However, it's important to recognize that optimism isn't always a perfect approach. Sometimes being too optimistic can lead to overlooking important risks or underestimating challenges. For instance, if someone believes everything will work out without any preparation, they might find themselves caught off guard when things don't go as planned. This kind of unrealistic positivity is often referred to as blind optimism and can create more issues than it resolves. On the other hand, pessimism involves expecting the worst or concentrating on potential problems. Pessimists often think through what could go wrong and take steps to prepare for those outcomes. This mindset can be beneficial in certain scenarios, like planning for emergencies or managing risks. For example, a pessimist might pack extra supplies and review travel details, ensuring they are ready for any mishaps that could occur. This careful approach can help avoid problems that someone who is more carefree might overlook. Yet, while there are advantages to a pessimistic outlook, it also has its drawbacks. Spending too much time focusing on what might go wrong can lead to increased stress and anxiety. Pessimists might hesitate to take risks, thinking that they won't succeed. For instance, someone who doubts their abilities may shy away from applying for a job they're interested in, missing out on a great opportunity. Over time, this mindset can limit their personal growth and happiness. In reality, most people don't fit neatly into the categories of pure optimism or pessimism. Many find themselves somewhere in between. They might feel hopeful about their relationships while being more cautious about their finances. How we view a situation often varies based on our experiences, personalities, and the unique challenges we face. Striking a balance between optimism and pessimism is essential, as optimism can inspire hope and keep us motivated, while a touch of pessimism can help us stay prepared for life's uncertainties. Pessimism encourages us to be cautious and prepared, while optimism helps us embrace life with confidence and hope. When we combine these two perspectives, we can face challenges more effectively. Take the example of someone starting a new business. They might use their optimistic vision to dream big and take risks, but they'll also need to lean on a bit of pessimism to map out potential problems they could encounter. Consider a team working on a big project. The optimistic members may inspire everyone with exciting possibilities, urging the group to reach for high goals. Meanwhile, the more cautious members might highlight risks and suggest proactive solutions. This blend of outlooks helps the team create a plan that is both ambitious and practical. In personal relationships, these attitudes play an important role too. Optimists can bring positivity and encouragement, which makes friendships and partnerships feel supportive. On the other hand, pessimists can provide a more realistic viewpoint, prompting loved ones to think critically about significant decisions. When these perspectives are balanced, they can lead to stronger, more resilient relationships. It's interesting to note that our optimism and pessimism can shift over time. Someone who experiences success may become more optimistic, while a person facing repeated setbacks might find themselves leaning towards pessimism. Life events, our health, and even the company we keep can shape how we view the world. For instance, spending time with optimistic friends can encourage a more positive outlook, whereas a negative environment might foster pessimistic thoughts. Both optimism and pessimism have important lessons to share. Optimism teaches us to seek the good in situations and believe in our ability to overcome obstacles. It reminds us that, even during tough times, there is often a way to improve our circumstances. Pessimism, conversely, teaches us to be cautious, prepare for challenges, and carefully assess risks. It reminds us that things won't always go smoothly, highlighting the need for a backup plan. Finding a balance between these two perspectives is essential. Excessive optimism may leave you unprepared, while too much pessimism can hinder your progress. By combining the strengths of both viewpoints, you can move through life with hope while remaining grounded in reality. Whether you naturally gravitate towards optimism or pessimism, both have valuable contributions to make. Together, they help us navigate life's hurdles and find a way forward. Now let's explore cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the uncomfortable feeling we experience when our thoughts, beliefs, or actions don't line up. It's like a mental tug-of-war that occurs when we hold two opposing ideas at once, or when what we do contradicts what we believe. This concept helps explain why people sometimes act in ways that may seem odd, or why they struggle with making certain decisions. Consider an example of someone who values healthy eating but often chooses fast food. On one side, they understand the importance of good nutrition and want to take care of their health. On the other hand, they enjoy the taste of fast food and find it convenient. This internal conflict, wanting to eat healthy but indulging in junk food, creates cognitive dissonance and leads to mental discomfort. Cognitive dissonance can happen to anyone. It's just part of being human. We often find ourselves in situations where our actions, beliefs, or values don't perfectly align. When that happens, we usually want to lessen our discomfort, and how we choose to do this can provide insight into our thinking and behavior. One way to address cognitive dissonance is by changing our behavior to be in line with our beliefs. For the person keen on healthy eating, they might start cooking more meals at home and steering clear of fast food. By aligning their actions with their values, they can ease the tension they're feeling. Another approach is to adjust our beliefs to fit our actions, especially when changing behavior feels challenging. In our earlier example, this person might reassure themselves that indulging in junk food isn't so bad if they balance it out with exercise. By shifting their perspective, they can lessen the contradiction between what they do and what they believe. A third way to manage cognitive dissonance is by introducing new thoughts or justifications. This involves finding reasons to explain the inconsistency. For instance, they might think, "I'm really busy, so fast food is my best option right now." These justifications help ease the discomfort without needing a significant change. Cognitive dissonance can arise in various parts of life, from daily choices to major decisions. Take, for example, buying an expensive car. If someone spends a significant amount but later questions whether it was worth it, they might experience cognitive dissonance. To diminish this unease, they might focus on the car's positive aspects, like its safety features or stylish design, convincing themselves it was a smart purchase. The same kind of tension can also emerge in relationships. Imagine feeling unsure about a close friend's actions that don't align with your values. This discomfort might prompt you to reevaluate your feelings or find ways to understand their choices better. Ultimately, cognitive dissonance is a common experience that offers us a chance to reflect on our beliefs and actions, guiding us toward a more coherent way of living. Wouldn't it be interesting to notice how it shows up in your own life? When someone values honesty but finds themselves lying to a friend, they may experience a feeling of discomfort. To cope, they might tell themselves it was just a small lie and that they didn't want to hurt their friend's feelings. This type of internal conflict is quite common and highlights how we often work to maintain a positive self-image. Cognitive dissonance, which describes this uncomfortable feeling when our beliefs and actions don't match, can also influence our social and political beliefs. For instance, consider someone who strongly supports a politician. If they learn about a mistake the politician made, they might feel a sense of dissonance. To resolve this, they may downplay the mistake or focus instead on the politician's positive qualities. Interestingly, cognitive dissonance isn't always a negative experience. It can sometimes drive us toward positive change. For example, imagine a person who cares deeply about the environment but realizes they aren't recycling. The discomfort they feel could inspire them to start recycling or reduce their waste, helping them align their actions with their values. However, cognitive dissonance can also lead to stubbornness. In some cases, instead of changing their behavior or beliefs, people may dig in their heels and reject any evidence that contradicts their views. This can make it harder for them to grow or learn. For instance, if someone refuses to accept a fact because it challenges their worldview, they might avoid the discomfort of dissonance, but also miss out on a chance to broaden their understanding. Psychologists first studied cognitive dissonance in the 1950s. One notable experiment involved participants completing a dull task and then being asked to persuade others that the task was enjoyable. Some received a small payment, while others got more. Surprisingly, those who were paid less were more likely to convince themselves that the task was fun. Why did this happen? The dissonance came from telling others that it was enjoyable while having the actual experience of boredom, and the small payment didn't justify the lie. To ease that discomfort, they adjusted their beliefs about the task. Understanding cognitive dissonance helps clarify why people sometimes make unexpected or seemingly illogical choices. It emphasizes how much we value consistency in our thoughts and actions. When our internal world feels out of sync, we naturally seek to remedy that, even if it means changing our beliefs, actions, or perspectives. This idea can be quite useful in everyday life. Understanding psychology can shed light on our everyday experiences, especially when we face internal conflicts. Have you ever felt a disconnect between what you believe and what you do? That feeling is called cognitive dissonance, and it presents a valuable chance for reflection. When you notice this in yourself, ask, do my actions reflect my values? If they don't, what changes can I make to align them? Being honest with ourselves can foster personal growth and help us make choices that feel right. Cognitive dissonance also teaches us patience with others. Sometimes, when someone's behavior seems off, they might be grappling with their own dissonance. Recognizing this can open the door to empathy and understanding. Ultimately, cognitive dissonance is a natural part of life. It shows that we care about being true to ourselves. While it can be uncomfortable, it serves as a strong motivator for change and self-improvement. By understanding how it works, we can leverage it to make better decisions and lead a more balanced, authentic life. Now let's explore the balance between rationality and emotion. This dynamic plays a crucial role in how we make decisions. Rationality is about using logic, reason, and careful thought to guide our choices. It helps us analyze situations and come to conclusions based on clear evidence. For instance, if you're choosing a car, a rational approach would involve comparing aspects like price, fuel efficiency, and safety ratings. By focusing on these factors, rationality can prevent impulsive decisions and steer us toward long-term benefits. One of the key strengths of rationality is its ability to anchor us. By relying on facts and logical reasoning, we can avoid being swayed by fleeting feelings or biases. This is particularly helpful in complex situations, such as managing a budget or addressing a work-related challenge. Rational thinking allows us to step back, consider the bigger picture, and make practical decisions. However, rationality does have its limitations. Life isn't always straightforward or logical, and not every decision can be simplified into numbers or facts. At times, overanalyzing a situation can lead to what's known as analysis paralysis, where we become stuck in our quest to weigh every option and find the perfect choice. For example, someone planning a vacation might spend so much time researching destinations and itineraries that they struggle to make a final decision. Recognizing when to balance rational thought with emotional intuition can lead to more fulfilling and timely choices. When planning a vacation, it's easy to get caught up in comparing hotels and flights. Sometimes this focus can cause you to miss out on great deals. Emotions, on the other hand, shape how we perceive and react to our surroundings. Feelings such as love, fear, joy, and anger play a significant role in our actions and our connections with others. For example, when you feel excited about a new opportunity, that emotion might encourage you to seize the moment and try something new. One of the key strengths of our emotions is that they infuse meaning into our decisions. They help us align our choices with our core values, allowing us to build relationships and experience life more profoundly. When considering a career, for instance, it's not solely about salary or job security. It's also about finding fulfillment and happiness. Emotions guide us in making choices that reflect who we are and what is important to us. However, emotions can sometimes lead us to make hasty or irrational decisions. When acting solely on feelings, we may overlook crucial facts or make choices we later regret. Consider someone who, in a moment of anger during an argument, might say something hurtful without considering the impact of their words. While emotional reactions can be intense, they may not be the best compass for long-term decisions. Everyday life often presents us with the tension between rational thinking and emotion. Imagine you're deciding whether to move to a new city for a job. Logical reasoning might suggest you accept the position because it offers good pay and career advancement. Meanwhile, emotions might create hesitation if you're anxious about leaving your friends and family behind. Both aspects hold valid points, and the key is to find a balance between them. This balance is particularly crucial in relationships. Rational thought helps us communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and make fair decisions. On the flip side, emotions enable us to connect, show empathy, and express love. For instance, if a friend is facing difficulties, rational thinking might lead you to offer advice, while an emotional response might encourage you to simply listen and provide comfort. Each approach has its merits, depending on what the moment calls for. Rationality and emotion also shape how we take risks. Rational thought might encourage us to take calculated risks, like investing in a new business after thorough market research. In contrast, emotions might prompt us to pursue risks that feel thrilling or adventurous. Balancing these two elements in our decision-making can lead us to more thoughtful and meaningful choices. We often make choices based on what is meaningful to us, even if these decisions don't always seem entirely logical. For instance, someone might follow their dream career, even if it comes with risks, driven by a strong passion or a desire for fulfillment. Some individuals tend to lean towards logic and rational thinking, prioritizing careful planning and analysis. Others may rely more on their emotions, valuing intuition and personal connections. It's important to recognize that neither approach is inherently right or wrong. Both have their strengths and weaknesses, and each plays a vital role in helping us make well-rounded decisions. Finding a balance between rationality and emotion is crucial. Rational thinking gives us structure and clarity, guiding us toward practical and effective choices. On the other hand, our emotions provide meaning and motivation, helping us stay connected to our values and to the people around us. When we blend these two perspectives, we can make decisions that are both smart and true to ourselves. Consider this scenario. You're thinking about whether to help a friend move. From a rational standpoint, you might weigh the time commitment and how it might disrupt your schedule. Emotionally, you may feel a strong sense of loyalty and a desire to support your friend. By considering both angles, you might decide to lend a hand while also setting boundaries to protect your other responsibilities. Let's look at another example involving your savings. Rationality might suggest investing your money for long-term growth. However, your emotions could encourage you to spend part of it on something meaningful, like a dream vacation. Striking a balance here could lead you to invest the majority of your savings while still reserving a portion for experiences that bring you joy. By understanding how rationality and emotion contribute to our decision-making, we can navigate life with greater awareness. This understanding serves as a reminder that logic alone or feelings alone can't dictate every choice we face. Instead, they complement each other, offering valuable insights. Rationality keeps us focused on facts and long-term goals, while emotion helps us remain true to our values and deepen our connections with others. Ultimately, rationality and emotion are not opposing forces, they are partners. Embracing both allows us to make decisions that are thoughtful, meaningful, and balanced, helping us create lives that are both well-structured and deeply fulfilling. Now let's explore the contrast between self-perception and external perception. Self-perception refers to how we view ourselves, our personality, actions, and identity, while external perception is how others see us. People form opinions about us based on their observations, and while how we see ourselves and how others see us often overlap, there can be significant differences. These differences can lead to misunderstandings or prompt us to reflect on ourselves. Our self-perception consists of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It shapes how we answer questions like, "Who am I?" or "What kind of person do I want to be?" For instance, someone may view themselves as kind, hardworking, or creative because they value those traits and aim to embody them. This self-perception influences our choices, the goals we set, and how we interact with others. Now, let's consider external perception. This is how other people see us, which often depends on our actions, words, and even how we present ourselves. For example, a person might be quiet at a party and may be perceived as shy, even if they believe they are simply being thoughtful or observant. It's important to realize that external perception is shaped by others' experiences, assumptions, and biases, so it isn't always accurate. This difference between self-perception and external perception can lead to challenges. Imagine someone who views themselves as generous because they often assist friends. However, if they forget to attend an important event, others might see them as unreliable. This clash between how they view themselves and how others perceive them can result in confusion and frustration. One reason for this disconnect is that our self-perception is based on our internal understanding, including our intentions and feelings. In contrast, external perception relies solely on outward appearances or behaviors. For example, you may feel nervous while giving a presentation, but believe you're hiding it well. Others might notice subtle signs like shaky hands or a wavering voice and assume you're unprepared. Such differences in perspective can create misunderstandings. Another factor to consider is impression management. People often try to control how others perceive them. For instance, someone might dress professionally for a job interview to appear confident, even if they feel anxious inside. While we can influence how others see us, we cannot fully control it. Social media further complicates this dynamic. Online, people often showcase only the best parts of their lives, which can create an external perception of success or happiness, even if the reality is more complex. This highlights the importance of being mindful of both self-perception and external perception in our interactions with others. It can be tricky when the way we present ourselves online doesn't always reflect our real lives. For instance, many people share their vacation photos and celebrations, but they might not talk about their struggles or challenges. This can create a gap between how they see themselves and how others see them. However, this difference isn't always a bad thing. In fact, it can spark growth and self-awareness. When we hear how others perceive us, it can prompt us to think about whether our actions match our intentions. Take a teacher, for example. If they think of themselves as supportive, but students view them as hard to approach, that feedback can be an opportunity for positive change. On the flip side, it's important to recognize that external perceptions can sometimes be unfair or wrong. People may judge someone based on stereotypes or first impressions rather than their true character. In these situations, having a strong self-perception can provide confidence and grounding, even when opinions from others may not be favorable. Yet, our view of ourselves isn't always perfect. Sometimes we can be our own worst critics, focusing only on our flaws or mistakes. This negative self-image might not align with how others see us. For example, one might feel inadequate because of difficulties in one area, while friends recognize their strengths in many other areas. Conversely, there are instances where people might overestimate their abilities, leading to a mismatch between their self-view and how others perceive them. Finding a balance between these two perspectives is essential for fostering self-awareness and nurturing healthy relationships. Understanding ourselves and our values through self-perception is vital, as is being aware of how our actions are experienced by others. By considering both sides, we can grow and adapt while staying true to who we are. In a workplace setting, for example, someone might view themselves as a team player, always ready to help. If their colleagues feel that they dominate conversations or don't listen enough, that external feedback is incredibly valuable. It can guide the person to adjust their behavior, like practicing active listening, all while still recognizing themselves as someone who values teamwork. In the context of relationships, it's crucial to grasp both perspectives. Imagine someone who believes they are caring because they frequently offer advice to friends. However, if those friends feel overwhelmed by unsolicited advice, it could be a signal that the person's self-perception doesn't fully reflect the reality of how they are perceived. Understanding these differences can help foster a deeper connection with others. When we feel overwhelmed or misunderstood, we often hear that we should focus more on listening rather than giving advice. Striking a balance between how we see ourselves and how others perceive us can strengthen our relationships. It encourages better communication and understanding. This balance is also vital for personal growth. If someone wants to improve in certain areas, they can start by reflecting on their self-image and comparing it with what others say about them. For instance, if someone views themselves as a good communicator but receives feedback that they often interrupt others, they can work on aligning their actions with their self-perception. At its heart, this struggle between how we see ourselves and how others see us shows us that identity is multifaceted. We are shaped by both our internal beliefs and external perspectives. By being open to feedback while remaining true to our values, we can connect these views and develop a more genuine and satisfying sense of self. Now let's delve into how we navigate challenges in life, particularly the contrast between hope and despair. Hope is our belief that situations can improve even in tough times. It's about holding on to the possibility of positive outcomes and finding the strength to keep moving forward. In contrast, despair is the sense that things will never get better, leading to feelings of sadness and helplessness. Hope is a powerful motivator. It encourages us to try again after setbacks, to set goals even when the path is unclear, and to envision a brighter future. For example, someone recovering from an illness may hold on to the hope of regaining their strength and returning to activities they love. This belief can drive them to stick to their treatment plan and maintain a positive outlook. Hope often stems from recognizing the potential for change, even amidst difficulties. It reminds us that improvement is always within reach, whether through our actions, the support of others, or simply the passage of time. Small victories, like solving a problem or receiving help from a friend, can spark hope, especially when life feels overwhelming. On the other hand, despair can feel all-consuming. When someone is in despair, they may feel that no matter what they do, situations will not improve. This mindset can sap their motivation to try or lead to a sense of stagnation. It's crucial to recognize this dynamic between hope and despair, as understanding it can help us navigate our thoughts and feelings more effectively. When faced with a long-term financial issue, it's not uncommon for someone to feel trapped, convinced that there's no way out. This kind of thinking can make it difficult to take any action, even when solutions are within reach. Often, despair arises from feeling overwhelmed or powerless. When challenges seem too large or persist for too long, it's easy to lose faith. For instance, a person who experiences continuous setbacks might start doubting their potential for success, even when they are making small strides. Isolation can also deepen this sense of despair. Individuals who feel alone in their struggles might think they have no one to turn to for support. The balance between hope and despair often hinges on our perspective and the support systems we have in place. Those who maintain a hopeful outlook tend to concentrate on what they can control, even in challenging times. Consider a student who struggles with a difficult subject. They might stay motivated by breaking their study material into smaller tasks and celebrating small successes, like understanding one concept before moving to the next. On the flip side, someone engulfed in despair may fixate on their failures or the distance they have to travel to reach their goals, magnifying their sense of hopelessness. One of the key benefits of hope is that it fosters resilience. When people believe that better days are coming, they're more likely to persevere, even in the face of setbacks. Embracing hope doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is fine. It involves facing difficulties with the conviction that improvement is achievable. For example, someone navigating a tough relationship might focus on rebuilding trust and improving communication, fueled by that sense of hope. Interestingly, despair, while often viewed negatively, can prompt important changes. When someone feels hopeless, it may signal a deeper struggle with something that truly matters to them. For example, a person feeling unfulfilled in their job might recognize the need to explore new career options. Despair can motivate people to reflect, seek assistance, or adopt a new strategy to address their challenges. The tension between hope and despair also influences how we view the future. Hope shines a light on possibilities and opportunities, while despair highlights obstacles and limitations. For example, during a worldwide crisis, hope might drive communities to unite and seek solutions, while despair can breed feelings of helplessness or apathy. Both perspectives are entirely natural. However, it's important to recognize that hope often leads us toward actionable paths, while despair can remind us of what needs to change. Energy is essential for moving forward, and hope plays a significant role in this process. However, hope doesn't mean ignoring reality. Instead, it involves finding reasons to persevere through difficult times. For instance, someone who is grieving might experience both sadness and hope simultaneously. They can acknowledge their pain while also believing in the possibility of healing and the return of joy in the future. It's crucial to recognize feelings of despair when they arise. Pretending everything is okay or forcing a positive attitude can often worsen the situation. By acknowledging despair, we can address it and seek support. For example, if someone feels hopeless about a project, they might find it helpful to discuss their thoughts with a mentor or a friend who can provide encouragement and fresh ideas. Feeling both hope and despair is a normal part of the human experience. The key is to find ways to navigate through despair and reconnect with hope. This may involve concentrating on small, manageable steps, reaching out for help, or reminding yourself of past challenges you've successfully overcome. Even when hope seems far away, it can be closer than it appears. In relationships, hope and despair also play important roles. Hope fosters trust, encourages belief in one another, and aids in resolving conflicts. Conversely, despair might emerge when trust is broken or when obstacles appear insurmountable. Open communication, empathy, and patience can help individuals shift from despair back to hope, ultimately strengthening their connection in the process. These two emotions highlight the power of perspective. Hope encourages us to see opportunities even during tough times and motivates us to keep pushing through challenges. Meanwhile, despair prompts us to reflect on our needs and seek out new paths or support. Together, hope and despair shape how we confront life's difficulties and remind us that even in the darkest moments, hope can illuminate the way forward. Now, let's explore the ideas of immanence and transcendence. This discussion centers on how we understand existence, the divine, and the universe. Immanence and transcendence reflect different perspectives on what is ultimate or sacred. Immanence emphasizes what is present, close, and within our world, while transcendence refers to what lies beyond, something infinite and above human experience. Both viewpoints offer valuable insights into how we interpret life and our role within it. The belief that the divine or ultimate reality is present in the world around us means that the sacred is intertwined with our daily lives. For instance, someone who embraces this idea might find the divine reflected in nature, a beautiful sunrise, a tranquil forest, or the vast ocean. They can experience a deep sense of connection to their surroundings and recognize the sacredness in people, animals, and even in the smallest, most ordinary moments. This perspective emphasizes closeness and interconnectedness, suggesting that the divine isn't distant or separate, but rather exists within every part of our lives. By adopting this view, individuals may feel a sense of wonder and gratitude for life, encouraging them to seek meaning and spirituality in their everyday experiences. For example, someone practicing mindfulness or meditation may feel a sense of this divine presence when they focus on their breath, becoming fully aware of the simplicity of the present moment. On the other hand, transcendent views present the idea that the divine or ultimate reality exists beyond what we can perceive physically or logically. This suggests that there's something greater than what we can see or directly experience, something infinite, eternal, and beyond our grasp. Many religious traditions describe transcendence as a higher power that exists outside the boundaries of time and space, beyond our material universe. This perspective often inspires feelings of awe and mystery, urging us to contemplate what lies beyond our immediate experiences. For example, when someone gazes up at the stars, they may feel a sense of transcendence, reflecting on the vastness of the universe and recognizing how small and fleeting human life is in comparison. This view can foster humility and a feeling of connection to something much larger than ourselves. The interplay between immanence and transcendence can be observed in how various people or cultures engage with spirituality. Some traditions focus on immanence, highlighting practices that bring individuals closer to the sacred in their daily lives. For example, certain forms of Buddhism and Hinduism emphasize that enlightenment or divine truth resides within us, waiting to be realized through meditation or self-awareness. In contrast, other traditions emphasize transcendence, marking a clearer distinction between the divine and our everyday existence. This tension between the two perspectives invites deeper exploration of how we understand and relate to the spiritual aspects of our lives. In our exploration of the sacred, we often see it as something lofty and worthy of pursuit. It's something that exists beyond our everyday experiences and requires a degree of faith or devotion to truly understand. Take Christianity, for example. Here, God is often viewed as transcendent, existing beyond the physical world. Yet, God is also immanent, meaning present in our lives through creation and human relationships. Both of these views have their own strengths and challenges. Seeing the world as immanent gives us a sense of closeness and intimacy. It teaches us that we can find meaning and spirituality in daily life, in our connections with loved ones, and in the beauty of nature. But if we focus too much on this idea, we may miss out on the larger mysteries that lie beyond our immediate experiences. On the flip side, the notion of transcendence inspires wonder and encourages us to look beyond ourselves. It invites us to explore the unknown and strive for greater understanding. However, this perspective can also feel distant or abstract, making it harder to connect with on a personal level. Interestingly, these two concepts don't have to be seen as opposites. They can actually complement one another. For instance, someone might feel the immanence in finding deep meaning in nature or art, while also experiencing transcendence when contemplating the vast universe or the idea of eternity. Many spiritual practices and philosophies seek to balance these two views, seeing the divine as present in our everyday lives and also beyond them. Striking this balance can greatly shape how we perceive the world and our place within it. Immanence encourages us to fully appreciate the present moment, connect with others, and discover beauty in the ordinary. Meanwhile, transcendence reminds us to dream, to wonder, and to reach for something greater than what we currently know. Think about an artist who might experience immanence in the act of creating, feeling a strong connection to their work and materials. At the same time, they may feel a sense of transcendence, guided by inspiration that propels them beyond their own limitations. Similarly, when hiking in a forest, one might hear the rustling of leaves and feel the presence of the trees. This is immanence. Yet, as they gaze at the vast landscape, they can also sense a connection to something much larger than themselves, which embodies transcendence. These concepts also play a role in how we approach relationships. Immanence invites us to focus on the present, cherishing moments with loved ones. Have you ever noticed how a simple conversation can make you feel deeply connected? This emphasis on the here and now enriches our interactions and helps us appreciate the beauty in everyday exchanges. It's a reminder that the sacred is often found in moments we may take for granted. Building meaningful connections is an important part of our lives. When we think about the relationships we form, we start to see the impact they have on our values and the legacy we leave behind. It's interesting to consider how the concepts of immanence and transcendence both play significant roles in understanding life. Immanence encourages us to find the sacred in our everyday experiences, noticing the divine in the small details of life. Meanwhile, transcendence invites us to look beyond our current circumstances, inspiring us to dream about what lies ahead and strive for something greater. By examining both ideas, we can deepen our understanding of the world and our role in it. Whether we find meaning in the familiarity of the present or the mystery of what is yet to come, we are reminded that life is rich with depth, wonder, and potential. As we shift to the topic of unity versus duality, this discussion helps us understand how we see the world and ourselves. Unity emphasizes the idea that everything is interconnected, forming a harmonious whole. It suggests that, despite our differences, we are all part of a greater oneness. For instance, in nature, we can observe unity through ecosystems, where trees, animals, soil, and water rely on each other to maintain balance. Each component contributes to the same system, showcasing how different parts work together. In our relationships, unity has a similar effect. Although people may come from diverse backgrounds with different languages and traditions, we all share fundamental experiences, emotions, and needs. Joy, love, and pain are universal. They connect us more than we might realize. Unity encourages us to focus on these shared traits rather than what divides us. On the other hand, duality brings our attention to the contrasts in life. It highlights how opposites shape our understanding of the world. For example, we recognize light only because we understand darkness, and we appreciate rest because we experience activity. This balance between opposites is prevalent in our daily lives. Think about emotions. Happiness and sadness are both part of the human experience. Each has its place and significance, helping us navigate the complexities of life. In summary, both unity and duality provide unique perspectives on how we interpret our realities. By exploring these concepts, we open ourselves to a broader understanding of the connections and differences that shape our lives. The relationship between opposites can be challenging, but both sides play crucial roles in our lives. For example, without sadness, we may not fully appreciate happiness. Similarly, achievements can feel less rewarding if we don't face challenges along the way. This idea of duality teaches us that opposites are often interconnected, rather than simply separate. Consider how people view the world. Someone who prioritizes unity might see humanity as one big family, where borders and differences matter less than our shared goal of living peacefully. On the other hand, someone who focuses on duality might perceive the world as a mix of contrasts, conflict and harmony, progress and setbacks, that each need to be understood on their own. Both perspectives offer valuable insights. Unity encourages us to see the bigger picture, fostering compassion and cooperation. For instance, when we approach global issues like climate change as a united front, we remind ourselves that the planet's health affects everyone. This sense of unity can bring comfort, suggesting we are part of something larger than ourselves. Meanwhile, duality helps us grasp the complexity of life. Recognizing differences as genuine and valuable can enhance our decision-making. By weighing opposing viewpoints, we can make more balanced choices. Furthermore, duality often helps us understand conflict and growth. Progress frequently arises from the interaction of opposing forces. It's important to note that unity and duality don't have to be an either-or situation. They can coexist and complement each other. Unity highlights our shared connections, while duality helps us navigate the differences that enrich those connections. For instance, in a family, unity might mean viewing the family as a single unit, bound together by love and support. At the same time, acknowledging that each family member has unique personalities and challenges adds depth to the family dynamic. These concepts appear frequently in philosophy and spirituality. Some traditions emphasize unity, teaching that all of existence is interconnected. For example, certain meditation practices aim to dissolve feelings of separation and foster a sense of oneness with the universe. Other traditions focus on duality, exploring the relationships between opposites, like light and shadow, action and rest, or life and death. These varying perspectives help us appreciate the balance and complexity of our existence. The concepts of unity and duality can greatly shape how we approach problem solving and conflict resolution. Let's consider a situation where a unity-based approach might prioritize shared objectives, such as fostering community or finding common ground during disagreements. Conversely, a duality-based approach would focus on recognizing and balancing the differences that arise, like addressing the needs of opposing parties in a negotiation. For instance, think about a workplace where team members hold varying opinions on handling a project. A unity perspective would highlight the group's common goal, encouraging teamwork and collaboration to reach that aim. Meanwhile, a duality perspective would delve into the different viewpoints, seeking ways to acknowledge both sides and devise a solution that incorporates these diverse opinions. By blending these approaches, the team can work toward a more balanced and effective outcome. Now let's explore how unity and duality manifest in other areas, such as art, science, and relationships. In art, unity may be represented by the overall harmony of a painting, where every element works together to create a cohesive impression. On the other hand, duality appears in the contrasts within the artwork. Think of interplay between light and shadow, or the mix of bold and soft colors that brings depth and interest. In the realm of science, unity shines through theories that aim to illustrate how everything in the universe is interconnected. In contrast, duality can be seen in the opposing forces, like positive and negative charges in electricity, which are essential for generating energy within systems. As for relationships, unity encourages individuals to focus on shared values and mutual support, while duality fosters respect for and celebration of differences, like varying interests or problem-solving approaches. Both elements play a crucial role in nurturing balanced and healthy connections. Ultimately, unity and duality provide us with two essential lenses through which to view the world. Unity invites us to recognize our interconnectedness and shared purpose, pushing us to collaborate and grasp the bigger picture. Duality, on the other hand, highlights the importance of differences and contrasts, helping us appreciate the intricacies of life and navigate challenges more effectively. By embracing both viewpoints, we can achieve balance, enhance our understanding, and live in harmony with ourselves and one another. Shifting our focus to faith and doubt, this theme examines our relationship with belief, uncertainty, and the pursuit of truth. Faith is essentially trust or confidence in something, often without solid evidence. This could manifest as a belief in a higher power, in other people, or even in ourselves. Doubt, in contrast, represents questioning or uncertainty regarding those beliefs, prompting us to think critically about what we hold to be true or reliable. Both faith and doubt are integral to our understanding of the world around us. Both faith and doubt significantly shape how we perceive the world and our role within it. Faith is a powerful force. It can give us a sense of purpose and direction, especially during uncertain times. For instance, consider someone who believes that their continuous hard work will eventually lead to success, even if they aren't seeing results right away. This belief fuels their resilience, helping them persevere through challenges. It serves as a source of hope, suggesting that brighter days are possible. Faith isn't limited to religious contexts, although it plays a considerable role there. In a spiritual sense, faith may involve trusting in a higher plan or believing in something beyond ourselves. Many religious traditions encourage followers to maintain faith in a divine presence, even amid confusion or hardship. This kind of faith can provide comfort and connect us to something larger than our individual experiences. In our daily lives, faith appears in various forms, like in our relationships, personal goals, and growth. For example, when we trust a friend, we have faith in their honesty and loyalty. Similarly, setting goals involves believing in our ability to achieve them. This confidence allows us to take risks, try new things, and hold on to the hope that our efforts will lead to worthwhile outcomes, even when the results are uncertain. On the other hand, doubt plays a crucial role as well. It involves questioning and examining our beliefs, which can lead to deeper understanding and development. While faith provides us with certainty, doubt encourages curiosity. If someone starts to doubt their current career path, this might inspire them to explore new opportunities and potentially find a more rewarding direction. Doubt nudges us to investigate further, gather evidence, and ensure our beliefs stand on solid ground. Furthermore, doubt can protect us from blind faith, which may lead to unwise decisions or missed chances. By prompting us to think more critically, doubt ensures that we don't accept ideas at face value. For example, before investing in a risky venture, doubt might drive someone to conduct thorough research and carefully assess the potential risks and benefits. Faith and doubt don't have to be in conflict. Rather, they can complement each other. Faith provides the confidence needed to take action, while doubt encourages us to reflect and make informed decisions. Consider a scientist who has faith in their ability to solve a problem. They also rely on doubt to question their assumptions and test their hypotheses. This combination of trust and skepticism paves the way for more accurate and reliable answers. In exploring personal beliefs, faith and doubt often go hand in hand. For instance, someone might firmly believe in a higher power, yet still experience moments of doubt, like questioning why bad things happen or wondering if their prayers are truly heard. These moments don't necessarily undermine faith. In fact, they can make it stronger by encouraging deeper reflection and a more meaningful connection to one's beliefs. By viewing doubt as a tool for personal growth instead of a threat to belief, we can create a more nuanced understanding of our experiences. Doubt can also prompt change, which is essential for personal development. Imagine someone who starts to question a tradition or belief from their childhood. This doubt might inspire them to seek new perspectives and shape their own understanding of the world. While this journey can be uncomfortable, it's often a vital part of discovering what genuinely resonates with us. However, it's important to recognize that excessive doubt can become paralyzing. When we question everything without seeking answers or taking steps forward, it can cultivate uncertainty and fear. This is where faith plays a crucial role, providing the courage to press on even when the path ahead is unclear. For example, a person launching a new business might doubt its potential for success, but faith in their vision and abilities can motivate them to take that first leap. Moreover, faith and doubt also influence our relationships. Trust, which is a form of faith, is fundamental to forming strong connections. We rely on the reliability and goodwill of those we care about. However, doubt can surface when trust is compromised or when we're unsure of someone's intentions. Finding a balance between faith and doubt is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. While doubt can instigate necessary conversations and changes, faith empowers us to forgive, rebuild trust, and move forward together. This interplay between faith and doubt is also evident in life's bigger questions, such as the meaning of life or what happens after we die. These are complex queries, often without definitive answers, making both faith and doubt integral to our exploration. Faith offers us purpose and hope, while doubt drives us to seek understanding. Together, they help us navigate these profound mysteries in meaningful ways. Neither faith nor doubt is inherently superior. They each serve distinct purposes. Faith brings stability, confidence, and direction, while doubt fosters reflection, curiosity, and growth. The goal is to strike a balance that allows us to forge ahead while remaining open to new ideas and experiences. For example, a student grappling with differing viewpoints in class might find that their academic journey is enriched by embracing both faith in their knowledge and doubt about preconceived notions. Preparing for a challenging exam can stir a mix of feelings. On one hand, having confidence in your abilities can motivate you to study effectively. On the other hand, a sense of doubt might lead you to double-check your work and prepare for any unexpected hurdles. By combining a belief in yourself with a healthy skepticism, you create a balanced approach, one that embraces confidence while remaining open to uncertainties. Faith and doubt are not opposing forces. Instead, they work together as partners in our journey of understanding. Faith encourages us to trust the path we're on, while doubt prompts us to question and grow. This combination helps us navigate life's unknowns with both courage and curiosity, guiding us toward deeper insights and a more meaningful life. Now let's explore the profound connections between life and death. Life is filled with growth, experiences, and connections, everything that unfolds from the moment we are born until our very last breath. In contrast, Death signifies the end of these experiences, the moment when our physical body stops functioning. While life and death may appear to be opposites, they are, in fact, deeply intertwined and shape how we perceive our existence. Life is vibrant and ever-changing. It's characterized by growth and the myriad experiences that shape who we are over time. From the joy of a child's first breath to the richness of personal milestones, life is about making choices, building relationships, and finding meaning in everyday moments. Whether we're celebrating birthdays, achievements, or other significant events, the experiences we collect, joy, love, and even challenges enrich our lives. Life also holds immense potential. Each day offers new opportunities to learn, grow, and connect with others. Simple pleasures, like sharing a meal with a loved one, watching a sunrise, or laughing with a friend, can make life feel fulfilling. Even during tough times, moments of hope and resilience remind us of life's inherent value. However, death represents the inevitable conclusion of life. It's a reality that every living being must face, yet it remains one of the greatest mysteries for many. The idea of death can often evoke fear or sadness as it signifies the unknown and the loss of connections with the world and our loved ones. It is the end of our physical existence, where our encounters and experiences cease. Despite the sorrow it may bring, death is also a natural part of life's cycle. As part of the natural cycle of existence, death plays a crucial role, similar to the changing seasons. Just as the end of one season sets the stage for renewal, the death of a plant enriches the soil for new growth. In our lives, death often brings people together, providing an opportunity to reflect on what is truly important. It helps us appreciate the time we have and the relationships we hold dear. The balance between life and death shapes the way we live. Understanding that life is finite adds urgency and significance to our actions. If we were to live forever, we might lack the motivation to chase our dreams, express our love, or make the best use of our time. Death acts as a reminder to value life, to savor each moment, and to focus on what matters most. At the same time, the concept of death can feel daunting or unjust, particularly when it comes unexpectedly or affects someone we care about deeply. It's natural to grieve and feel the pain that accompanies loss. We often find ourselves pondering what happens after life ends. Different cultures provide various perspectives on this, ranging from beliefs in an afterlife to the idea that death marks a return to nature. Life and death are closely connected when it comes to finding meaning. Many people seek purpose in leaving a legacy, something that endures after they are gone. This could manifest in raising a family, creating art, building a community, or simply showing kindness to others. Such actions serve to bridge the gap between life and death, ensuring that a part of us remains even when we're no longer present. We can also see the relationship between life and death in how we face challenges and transitions. Each ending can feel like a small death, whether it's finishing a job, ending a relationship, or moving on from a phase of life. However, these endings often pave the way for new beginnings, educating us that life and death encompass more than just physical existence. They represent cycles of growth and renewal. During times of deep reflection, many find that death can serve as a teacher. It prompts us to ask important questions like, what do I want to leave behind? Or how can I best utilize the time I have? Such inquiries encourage us to live with intention, directing our focus toward the truly meaningful aspects of life. Life and death also influence our connections with others. Relationships tend to gain depth and significance because we understand they are not permanent. This awareness encourages us to cherish the moments spent with loved ones, express our emotions, and create lasting memories. Have you ever considered how this understanding shapes your own relationships? When we gather for funerals and memorials, we often find ways to celebrate life. These moments aren't just about saying goodbye. They honor the impact someone's life had on those around them. While some people may feel fear or sadness in the face of death, others might find peace or acceptance. These reactions can vary greatly from person to person, influenced by beliefs, experiences, and cultural backgrounds. For some, death is seen as a transition to another existence or a return to the universe. Others view it as a reminder to fully embrace life in the present, understanding that every moment is precious. Both life and death offer valuable lessons about balance. Life is filled with possibilities, but it can also be unpredictable. On the other hand, while death is inevitable, we never know when it will come. Together, these truths encourage us to live with awareness and gratitude, appreciating the beauty in the present while accepting that change is part of life. In many ways, life and death are not simply opposing forces. They are partners in the story of our existence. Life invites us to be present, to embrace growth, and to find joy in our journey. Death may symbolize endings, but it also creates space for reflection, but is renewal and the legacies we leave behind. By understanding and accepting both aspects, we can live with greater depth, purpose, and connection, making the most of each moment we have. Let's delve into human fallibility and divine perfection, two contrasting concepts that shape our understanding of ourselves and our relationship with higher ideals. Human fallibility highlights our limitations and mistakes, while divine perfection represents an unattainable standard of flawlessness, often associated with a higher power or ideal. This tension between the two can be both humbling and motivating, guiding us as we seek meaning and navigate life's challenges. Making mistakes is a natural part of being human. We often misjudge situations or act in ways that don't align with our values. For instance, a person might break a promise to a friend not from any ill intent, but due to forgetfulness or overwhelming responsibilities. These lapses are reminders that perfection is not part of our nature. Rather, it's through facing our shortcomings that we learn and grow. Much of our fallibility arises from being influenced by emotions, limited knowledge, and surrounding circumstances. Even with the best intentions, we may still make unwise choices. A parent, striving to support their child, might unintentionally hurt them with a careless comment. A community leader trying to make the best decision for their group might overlook important details. These experiences highlight our shared humanity and the ongoing journey of understanding ourselves and others. As we navigate life's ups and downs, it's common to overlook important details. Moments of failure can feel disheartening. However, they present valuable chances for reflection and growth. On the flip side, the idea of divine perfection represents an ultimate ideal that many religious traditions describe as all-knowing, all-powerful, and perfectly good. This concept can serve as a benchmark for how we measure ourselves. For example, someone might look to their faith's teachings about kindness or justice to guide their actions. Even if they know they can't fully embody those ideals, these teachings inspire them to strive for better. Divine perfection doesn't always have to be tied to a belief in a deity. For some, it might represent broader concepts like truth, love, or justice, values that seem just beyond our reach but are worth pursuing. These ideals give us something to strive for, reminding us that while we are imperfect, we have the potential to grow and contribute to something larger than ourselves. The balance between our human imperfections and the concept of divine perfection can be both a challenge and a source of inspiration. On one hand, recognizing our flaws can lead to feelings of guilt or inadequacy, especially when we compare ourselves to those seemingly unreachable standards. For instance, someone may feel overwhelmed trying to live according to their religious principles or societal expectations, feeling like they are always falling short. On the other hand, this tension encourages us to grow. Understanding that we are not perfect does not mean we cannot improve. In fact, striving toward higher ideals, even if we never fully achieve them, can give our lives a sense of purpose. For example, one might work towards being more compassionate, even if they sometimes lose their temper. The effort to align with these higher values, even imperfectly, adds meaning to our lives. Additionally, human fallibility can create connections. Recognizing our shared imperfections fosters empathy and understanding. When someone admits to making a mistake, it often makes them more relatable and trustworthy, demonstrating humility. Take, for example, a leader who acknowledges their errors. They might earn more respect than one who pretends to be infallible. Similarly, admitting faults in personal relationships and seeking forgiveness can strengthen our connections with others. At the same time, the notion of divine perfection provides stability and guidance in a constantly changing world. The concept of something unchanging offers comfort and hope, reminding us that even amidst uncertainty, we can reach for ideals that inspire us. Even when people make mistakes, there's always a higher standard we can look to for guidance. Take, for example, someone who finds themselves facing a tough ethical choice. By reflecting on teachings or values they hold dear, they can find clarity in their decision-making. This struggle also appears in how we approach self-improvement. If someone focuses solely on being perfect, they may become overly critical of themselves or others, leading to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. For instance, a person might set unreasonably high goals, thinking they need to be flawless to deserve love or success. However, accepting our human flaws doesn't mean we should stop striving for growth. It simply means we recognize that failure is part of the journey and that we often learn the most from our mistakes. In many spiritual teachings, this balance is essential. Most religions highlight our imperfections while also offering a way to connect with something greater. Concepts like grace, forgiveness, and redemption remind us that we don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, guidance, or purpose. In our everyday lives, the push and pull between our imperfections and ideals shapes how we connect with others. Consider parenting. Parents strive to give their best to their children, aware that they will make mistakes along the way. Aiming for patience and understanding is noble, but losing one's temper occasionally is human. By acknowledging their flaws and working on themselves, parents model resilience and accountability for their kids. Similarly, in the workplace or creative fields, the pursuit of perfection can inspire us to reach new heights, yet it can also impose unnecessary pressure. An artist might feel frozen by the expectation to create something flawless, potentially missing out on growth that comes from trying new things and embracing failure. Finding a balance between these perspectives allows us to aspire to excellence, while accepting that mistakes are merely stepping stones in our journey. This interplay between human fallibility and divine perfection invites us to question how we define success and fulfillment. Is it merely about reaching a specific ideal, or is it more about the effort we invest in our growth and learning? Many would argue it's the journey that truly counts. By aiming for perfection while accepting our imperfections, we can discover meaning in the process of becoming who we are meant to be. Better versions of ourselves remind us that human fallibility and divine perfection are intertwined. Our imperfections highlight our humanity, flawed yet capable of growth. At the same time, the idea of divine perfection offers us something to strive for, serving as a source of guidance and inspiration. Together, these concepts help us understand ourselves and the world around us, encouraging both humility and hope as we face life's challenges. Embracing this balance can lead to a greater sense of purpose, connection, and a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. Now let's explore how work-life balance plays a role in this journey. It's about finding harmony between the demands of your job and your personal life. Work includes responsibilities like meeting deadlines, attending meetings, and pursuing professional goals. Life, on the other hand, is about spending time with family, enjoying hobbies, relaxing, and focusing on personal growth. Striking a balance between work and personal life is important for overall well-being, but it can be challenging. For many, work is not only a source of income, but it also provides structure and often a sense of purpose. For some, their career is a passion that brings pride. For others, it's primarily about providing for themselves and their loved ones. In either case, work can consume a significant amount of time and energy, leaving less space for personal activities. Yet, life outside of work is equally important. It's where we build relationships, pursue hobbies, take care of our health, and find joy in simple pleasures. Spending quality time with family, exercising, reading, or just relaxing can recharge our energy and give life deeper meaning beyond our professional achievements. Without enough personal time, we can easily feel burned out or disconnected from what truly matters. The challenge lies in the fact that work and life often compete for our attention. Long hours at work can limit the time available for family or personal interests. Conversely, personal responsibilities, such as caring for children or elderly parents, can make it harder to focus on work. When one side takes over, it can lead to imbalance, which may result in distress, fatigue, or dissatisfaction. Work-life balance is about finding that middle ground. It doesn't require a perfect split of time between work and personal life. Rather, it's about prioritizing what matters most in the moment. For instance, during a hectic work period, you might invest extra hours in a project, but later you can carve out time to unwind or take a vacation to recharge. One essential element in achieving work-life balance is setting boundaries. This might include leaving work at a specific time each day or avoiding checking emails after hours can really help establish boundaries. Take, for instance, someone who cherishes family dinners. They might decide to put their phone away during that time. These boundaries create room for personal life while making work more manageable. Next, let's consider flexibility, which is another essential part of achieving work-life balance. Life tends to be unpredictable, and sometimes various aspects require more of our attention. For example, a parent may need to take time off to care for a sick child, or an employee might need to adjust their schedule to participate in a family event. Flexibility allows individuals to respond to changing circumstances without becoming overwhelmed. Employers can support this balance too. Companies that provide flexible hours, remote work options, or generous leave policies help employees juggle their responsibilities more easily. For example, when a company allows parents to work from home when necessary, it shows they value personal lives just as much as professional contributions. When employees feel supported, they often become more motivated and productive. However, achieving work-life balance isn't solely about working fewer hours. It's also about making the most of your time. Someone may work reduced hours but spend their free time doing chores, leaving them feeling unbalanced. It's vital to carve out time for activities that bring joy and relaxation, whether that's spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies, or simply unwinding. Cultural expectations can also influence how we view work-life balance. In some cultures, long hours and constant availability are seen as signs of dedication, making it more difficult to prioritize personal life. In contrast, other cultures might emphasize leisure time, with shorter work weeks or longer vacations. Recognizing and questioning these cultural norms can aid both individuals and organizations in creating healthier expectations. Finally, technology adds another layer of complexity to work-life balance. Tools like email and video calls make remote work more accessible, but can also blur the lines between work and personal time. For instance, it's easy to feel compelled to respond to work messages during evenings or weekends. Establishing clear guidelines, such as turning off notifications after a certain time, can help maintain those boundaries. It's important to remember that achieving work-life balance is unique to each person, as everyone has different needs and priorities. For one individual, it might be about spending more time with family, while for another, it might mean dedicating time to personal interests. For some individuals, achieving balance might mean working fewer hours to spend more time with family. For others, it could involve finding a job that resonates with their personal values and passions. The key is to discover what balance looks like for you and make adjustments when necessary. It's essential to understand that balance is not a one-time goal, it's an ongoing journey. Our lives and priorities change over time. For instance, someone just starting their career may prioritize skill building and reputation, while someone later in life might focus more on cherishing moments with loved ones or pursuing personal interests. Adapting to these shifts is part of maintaining that essential balance. Work-life balance isn't merely about minimizing stress, it's about crafting a fulfilling life. When we allocate time for both work and personal pursuits, we are more likely to feel satisfied, energized, and connected to those around us. It's important to recognize that both work and life hold significance, and finding ways to make room for each is crucial. In essence, work-life balance involves making conscious choices about what truly matters, setting boundaries to protect your time, and creating space for activities that bring joy and meaning. By being attentive to your priorities and remaining adaptable, you can cultivate a life that feels balanced, rewarding, and reflective of who you are. Now let's dive into the distinct approaches of overthinking and intuition when it comes to decision-making. Overthinking refers to the process of analyzing every detail, questioning, and weighing options meticulously. In contrast, Intuition involves trusting your gut instinct and acting without needing to sort through every aspect step by step. Both methods have their merits and drawbacks, and striking a balance between them can lead to improved decision-making. Overthinking occurs when we fixate on a problem or decision to the point of replaying the same details repeatedly. It can feel like being trapped in a mental loop, anxious about overlooking something or making an incorrect choice. For example, someone weighing two job offers might analyze aspects like salary, location, and work-life balance to such an extent that they feel paralyzed and unable to decide. While overthinking can be detrimental at times, it can also be beneficial. It allows us to gather information, consider various viewpoints, and anticipate potential outcomes. Take the example of someone looking to buy a house. Overthinking might prompt them to thoroughly research the neighborhood, inspect the property in detail, and carefully evaluate the financial implications. Analyzing our choices can be a useful way to avoid hasty decisions and costly mistakes. However, it's important to recognize that overthinking can become a pitfall. When we dwell too much on minor details, we often lose sight of the important aspects of a situation. For instance, imagine someone organizing a party who becomes fixated on the precise color of the decorations or the ideal playlist. This focus on the minutiae can distract them from the main aim, enjoying the event and connecting with friends. Overthinking can inflate small issues, leaving us feeling overwhelmed and unable to move forward. On the other hand, there's intuition, which allows us to make quick decisions based on what feels right. This gut feeling or instinct doesn't always come from logical reasoning. Consider someone who meets a stranger and instantly feels either trust or caution without being able to pinpoint why. Intuition taps into our past experiences, instincts, and subconscious knowledge. One of the benefits of intuition is that it helps us act swiftly, especially when time is tight. For example, a firefighter facing an emergency often relies on their intuition to evaluate the situation quickly and determine the safest actions to take. Intuition can also play a crucial role in creative activities, like generating ideas or approaching problems in new ways. It feels natural because it draws on the patterns and lessons we've absorbed over time. For instance, a seasoned chef may know how to balance flavors instinctively without needing to measure each ingredient. Similarly, teachers often have a knack for sensing when a student is struggling, even without direct communication. That said, intuition isn't foolproof. It can be swayed by biases, emotions, or missing information. For example, someone might have a strong gut feeling about an investment only to discover they overlooked key facts. Intuition can lead us to snap judgments based more on assumptions than on reality. The challenge lies in balancing overthinking and intuition, especially when it comes to significant decisions. Should we carefully analyze the situation, or should we trust our instincts? The best approach often depends on the specific context. For complex decisions that require detailed planning, such as choosing a career path or making a financial investment, overthinking may provide valuable insights. In situations where emotions run high or decisions need to be made quickly, intuition often serves as a helpful guide. The important part here is striking a balance between our gut feelings and analytical thinking. Both overthinking and intuition can work in harmony to lead us toward better choices. Consider the example of someone faced with the decision to accept a new job. They might start by tuning into their intuition. Does this opportunity feel exciting or like a good fit for them? After that initial gut feeling, they can engage in some thoughtful analysis of the pros and cons to ensure they've covered all the practical details. It's also essential to be aware of when we might be leaning too heavily in one direction. If overthinking leads to stress or a feeling of being stuck, it might be time to take a step back and listen to that inner voice. For instance, if you find yourself stressing over whether to book a much-desired vacation, your intuition might remind you that travel is something you've been longing for, suggesting it's worth taking the leap. On the other hand, if intuition is pushing you toward a quick decision, like making an expensive purchase, it can be beneficial to pause and reflect. This is where overthinking comes into play. It can help you weigh whether the item is really worth the cost, or if it's just a passing urge, Understanding how to balance overthinking and intuition can also enhance our relationships. Overthinking can lead to second-guessing our words and actions as we worry about how others might see us. Intuition, however, encourages more genuine connections by allowing us to trust our instincts in social settings. For example, if you sense a friend is feeling down, your intuition may guide you to reach out, while overthinking could make you hesitate, doubting your read on the situation. Ultimately, overthinking and intuition each have their unique roles. Overthinking supports us in planning and analyzing choices thoughtfully, while intuition enables quick actions that align with our inner wisdom. By learning to identify when to use each approach, we can navigate decisions with greater confidence and ease. Overthinking and intuition are not opposing forces. Instead, they are complementary tools. Overthinking offers the logic needed for complex situations, while intuition provides the insight and spontaneity from our deeper instincts. By finding a balance, we can tackle life's challenges with careful thought while also embracing the confidence that comes from trusting ourselves. The interplay between technology and nature reveals two key forces that significantly influence our lives. On one hand, technology symbolizes human ingenuity. It's made up of the tools and systems we create to address issues and enhance our everyday experiences. On the other hand, nature embodies the world as it is, free from human influence. Think of forests, oceans, wildlife, and the natural cycles that govern our environment. While both technology and nature are vital for our survival, they often appear to be in conflict. Technology is synonymous with progress and problem solving. It has reshaped how we live, work, and connect with one another. Consider how electricity, medical advancements, smartphones, and the internet have revolutionized our daily routines. For example, video calls have bridged distances, allowing friends and family to stay connected across the globe. Moreover, healthcare innovations have not only extended life expectancy but also enhanced the quality of our lives. One of the remarkable aspects of technology is its capacity to address problems swiftly and effectively. Take weather satellites, for instance. They enable communities to anticipate weather conditions, preparing them for natural disasters. Additionally, renewable energy technologies are working to lessen our dependence on fossil fuels and address climate change. However, it's important to recognize that technology is not without its downsides. While it offers convenience and innovation, it can also result in over-reliance, environmental harm, and even a sense of separation from the natural world. The extraction of resources for electronics can lead to habitat destruction, and excessive screen time might affect our mental health and limit our opportunities to enjoy the outdoors. Nature, in contrast, emphasizes balance, simplicity, and a deeper connection to our planet. It provides us with essential resources like clean air, fresh water, food, and a stable climate. Beyond these necessities, nature also supports our well-being in ways that technology sometimes cannot. For example, spending time in a forest or along the coast can alleviate stress, elevate our mood, and even promote better physical health. These benefits arise from simply being present in the natural world. Moreover, nature demonstrates lessons of harmony and resilience. Ecosystems thrive on interdependent relationships, where each element plays its part. For example, a forest relies on a network of trees, plants, animals, fungi, and microbes to maintain its balance and sustain life. This interconnectedness serves as a reminder that we are part of a larger system, and our actions carry weight and consequences. Nature can be unpredictable and at times quite challenging. Events like hurricanes, droughts, and earthquakes serve as reminders that the forces of nature often lie beyond our control. This unpredictability is one reason why technology has evolved to help us adapt to and protect ourselves from nature's extremes. The relationship between technology and nature can sometimes seem like a tug of war between two opposing sides. For example, in our pursuit of progress, activities like deforestation for urban development can upset ecosystems and lead to a decline in biodiversity. Conversely, nature often pushes back. Think of rising sea levels and shifting weather patterns, or species that adapt to changing environments in remarkable ways. However, it doesn't have to be a conflict. Technology and nature can actually work together. Many modern innovations aim to harmonize with nature instead of overriding it. Renewable energy solutions like solar panels and wind turbines harness natural resources to provide sustainable power. Additionally, conservation technologies like drones for wildlife monitoring and tools for cleaning our oceans use innovation to protect and restore our environment. In our daily lives, this balance appears in relatable ways too. You might use fitness apps to track your outdoor runs or install smart thermostats to save energy at home. These tools blend technology with nature-focused goals, making it easier to live in ways that respect both. Yet, it is equally important to take moments to step back from technology and reconnect with nature. While smartphones and social media keep us linked to each other in the digital realm, they can sometimes distance us from the natural world around us. Taking time to unplug and spend time outdoors not only restores balance, but can also provide a sense of peace and perspective that technology simply cannot offer. Cultural attitudes about technology and nature further shape how we navigate this relationship. In some cultures, technological advancement is viewed as the ultimate achievement, a means to enhance our lives and control our environment. In contrast, other cultures place a higher value on living harmoniously with nature, prioritizing sustainability and traditional practices over rapid innovation. Both views have valuable insights for finding balance. One effective way to bridge the gap is to consider how technology can enhance our connection with nature, rather than seeing it solely as a force that competes with the natural world. Apps that help identify plants or birds can enhance our understanding of nature. Virtual reality, on the other hand, can transport us to distant ecosystems, igniting a deeper appreciation for their beauty and the importance of preserving them. The ongoing relationship between technology and nature centers around finding a balance. Technology showcases human creativity and our desire to improve life, while nature grounds us, reminding us of our origins, limitations, and reliance on the earth. It's essential to recognize that both aspects play a critical role. By using technology wisely and maintaining our connection to nature, we can foster a world where these forces complement each other. Whether through sustainable practices, eco-friendly innovations, or simply spending time outdoors, we can honor both our technological advancements and the natural world that supports us. Achieving this balance can be challenging, but it is crucial for our well-being and the future of our planet. Now, let's explore the relationship between wealth and happiness. This topic involves looking into what truly brings fulfillment to our lives. Wealth is often linked to material possessions and financial resources, while happiness is rooted in well-being, contentment, and joy. While having wealth can enhance happiness to some extent, the two are not synonymous, and seeking one does not always ensure the other. Wealth can provide security and open up opportunities. It enables access to basic needs such as food, shelter, healthcare, and education. Consider someone who doesn't have to worry about monthly bills. They are likely to feel more relaxed and able to focus on other important areas of life. Additionally, financial stability can lead to experiences that foster happiness, like traveling, pursuing hobbies, or spending quality time with family. A person with enough money for comfort might enjoy a dream vacation or invest in their passions, unburdened by the need to juggle multiple jobs. However, wealth has its limitations regarding happiness. Studies show that once individuals achieve a certain level of financial security, adequate to meet their needs and provide comfort, extra money does not necessarily equate to greater happiness. For instance, someone with a modest yet stable income might find themselves as happy as a millionaire, provided both have fulfilling relationships, good health, and a sense of purpose. Happiness often hinges on aspects that money can't buy, such as strong relationships, personal growth, a sense of purpose, and joyful experiences. These elements usually contribute far more to lasting happiness than material possessions do. Think about it. Spending quality time with loved ones or lending a helping hand to a friend can create deep feelings of connection and satisfaction that money simply can't replicate. One challenge in the conversation about wealth versus happiness is that society frequently equates success with financial gain. Many people feel pressured to achieve higher salaries, nicer houses, or more belongings, believing these will lead to happiness. While reaching financial milestones can offer a sense of accomplishment, it's often not enough to satisfy deeper emotional or spiritual needs. For example, a person might put in long hours to afford a lavish lifestyle, but ends up feeling lonely because they lack time for meaningful relationships. On the other hand, pursuing happiness without considering financial stability can bring its own difficulties. Picture someone who chooses a low-paying job they're passionate about. They might find it tough to meet basic needs, leading to stress that affects their overall well-being. In this way, there's a clear connection between wealth and happiness. It's hard to feel genuinely content if you're always worried about making ends meet. The relationship between wealth and happiness is also shaped by how people utilize their resources. Research suggests that spending money on experiences, like trips or activities with friends and family, brings more happiness than purchasing material goods. Experiences tend to create lasting memories and strengthen bonds, while the joy of a new purchase often fades quickly. Moreover, generosity plays a significant role in how wealth can contribute to happiness. Using money to support others, whether through charity, helping a friend, or investing in community projects, can foster a sense of purpose and fulfillment. For instance, someone who donates to a cause they care about may feel happier knowing they've made a positive impact. It's important to remember that happiness isn't solely dependent on external circumstances. It also involves mindset. Gratitude is a powerful ingredient for happiness. Someone who appreciates what they have, regardless of their financial situation, is more likely to feel content. Consider a person living a modest life but who finds joy in good health or supportive relationships. Their grateful outlook can lead to a deeper sense of happiness. Relationships and experiences can often bring more joy than wealth, especially for those who focus on what truly matters to them. Different cultures also view wealth and happiness in various ways. In some societies, material success is considered a key indicator of happiness, while in others, community connections, relationships, or spiritual fulfillment are given more importance. This diversity illustrates that happiness is not one size fits all. It hinges on individual values, priorities, and viewpoints. The connection between wealth and happiness is often about finding a healthy balance. Money can create a secure foundation for a happy life, providing safety and opportunities. However, it's not the only element needed for true contentment. Real happiness tends to come from multiple sources, such as relationships, a sense of purpose, good health, and our perspective on life. For example, someone with a steady income may derive greater joy from spending quality time with family and friends, establishing meaningful goals, and maintaining their overall well-being than someone who concentrates solely on acquiring wealth. Likewise, a person who leads a simpler lifestyle but focuses on enriching experiences and strong relationships can discover profound happiness without vast financial resources. Ultimately, wealth and happiness aren't opposites. Rather, they can be complementary tools that help us build a fulfilling life. Wealth can enable us to meet our needs and explore new opportunities, while happiness is rooted in how we live, connect, and find meaning. By centering our attention on what truly counts and using wealth as a resource instead of a mere objective, we can create a life that feels both secure and deeply satisfying. Now let's consider the contrast between scarcity and abundance. This difference shapes our views on resources, opportunities, and life itself. Scarcity is the belief that there isn't enough to go around, be it time, money, love, or success, and that we must compete or struggle to achieve what we want. In contrast, abundance reflects the idea that plenty exists, and resources and opportunities are often more plentiful than they may initially appear. Adopting these two mindsets can significantly influence how we handle challenges, our relationships, and how we perceive our overall well-being. A scarcity mindset can lead to feelings of urgency or fear, creating the sense that we are always running low on time or resources. For instance, someone with a scarcity attitude towards money may feel pressured to save every penny, even when they are in a stable financial situation. Focusing on what we lack can often prevent us from appreciating what we already possess. This mindset can create a sense of competition. When we believe there's not enough for everyone, it's easy to see others as rivals instead of partners. For instance, in a workplace, Employees with a scarcity mindset might hesitate to share their ideas or insights, fearing someone else will steal their thunder or get ahead. While competition can sometimes motivate people to work harder, an overwhelming focus on scarcity can lead to stress, distrust, and conflict. In contrast, adopting an abundance mindset allows us to recognize possibilities and trust that there is enough to go around. This perspective suggests that resources, opportunities, and success are not limited. When someone has an abundance mindset, they might genuinely celebrate a teammate's promotion, believing that it won't diminish their own chances for growth. An abundance-focused approach encourages collaboration, generosity, and community. One significant advantage of this mindset is its ability to spark creativity and uncover opportunities. Instead of fixating on constraints, it nudges people to envision what's possible. For example, an entrepreneur with an abundance mindset could see a competitive market not as a barrier, but as a chance to innovate. By concentrating on potential rather than problems, they're more likely to succeed. Moreover, embracing abundance nurtures gratitude. When we believe in plenty, we tend to appreciate what we have and share it freely. Think about someone who feels abundant in their relationships. They might invest more time with friends and family, recognizing that love and connection grow stronger when shared. However, it's important to note that an abundance mindset doesn't mean ignoring reality or being reckless. Resources such as time, money, and energy are finite, requiring careful management. For example, a person who thinks abundantly about money can still create a budget, understanding that making the most of what they have is essential. Similarly, an abundance mindset does not dismiss challenges. Instead, it encourages facing them with confidence and creativity rather than fear. At the heart of the difference between scarcity and abundance lies perspective. Scarcity fixates on what's missing, while abundance highlights what's possible. Imagine two candidates vying for the same position. One with a scarcity mindset might think, if they get it, I lose. An abundance mindset can lead you to think, if I don't land this job, there will be other opportunities. In contrast, a scarcity mindset may fill you with worry, believing that chances are few and limited. This feeling can extend to our relationships. For example, someone with a scarcity mindset might feel insecure or possessive, fearing that love and attention are in short supply. If their partner spends time with friends, they might feel jealous, worrying that there won't be enough love left for them. On the flip side, an abundance mindset fosters trust that love can grow when shared. This perspective allows individuals to feel more secure and generous within their relationships. Now let's consider how these mindsets impact organizations. A company stuck in a scarcity mindset might focus solely on cutting costs and competing against rivals, leading to a stressful environment and potential burnout. In contrast, an organization with an abundance mindset invests in employee development, collaboration, and innovation. By trusting that these efforts will lead to long-term success, they create a more positive workplace culture. Scarcity and abundance also shape our worldview. Someone who believes in scarcity may think that helping others means there's less for themselves. In contrast, a person with an abundance mindset focuses on sustainable solutions, believing that collaboration can create enough resources for everyone. Both mindsets have their roles. Scarcity can help us hone in on priorities and act quickly. For example, if you're racing against a deadline, realizing that time is limited can motivate you to work more efficiently. However, living constantly in a scarcity mindset can lead to stress and a limited view of what's possible. Abundance encourages us to embrace hope, generosity, and creativity. Even during tough times, an abundance mindset can help you discover unexpected opportunities for growth or connection. The key is striking a balance, acknowledging real limitations while cultivating an abundance mindset. This combination allows us to approach life with a mix of practicality and optimism. For instance, as you save for a big purchase, recognizing the need to budget carefully reflects a scarcity perspective, but also believing that your hard work will pay off highlights an abundance mindset. Ultimately, the choice between scarcity and abundance influences how we perceive the world and our role within it. Scarcity may induce anxiety, while abundance opens the door to possibility. Which perspective do you find yourself leaning toward? Abundance encourages gratitude, generosity, and creativity by changing our focus from what we lack to what we can achieve. When we shift our mindset in this way, we can tackle challenges with confidence, foster stronger relationships, and experience a deeper sense of fulfillment in our lives. Have you ever noticed how highlighting the positives can completely change your outlook? By embracing a mindset of abundance, we open up new possibilities and enhance our overall well-being.